Well, a big message on the electronic screens here saying we are together with you, Turkey and Syria. Well, the Borussia Dortmund players peel away to our left-hand side to go and applaud that south stand with the flags waving in the air. They're all jumping up and down in union. And now the Dortmund players retreat to the other end of the pitch, and the Chelsea players are now occupying that end of the ground, and Kepa has the long run towards his penalty area, all in orange this evening. The Chelsea goalkeeper clutching a white towel as he just trots up to the penalty spot, gives it a little scuff, and now takes his place between the posts then for Chelsea. So Kepa in goal, Chilwell, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly and James at the back, Loftus-Cheek, Fernandes and João Felix behind the front three of Mudryk, Havertz and Ziyech. As for Dortmund, Kobel in goal, Guerreiro, Schlotterbeck, Zula and Wolf, Bellingham, Jan and Özcan in midfield, Brandt, Aller and Adeyemi are their front three. It will be Sebastian Aller who will get the game underway. Dortmund, of course, in their yellow shirts, black shorts and yellow socks, kicking from right to left as we get underway in the first leg of this UEFA Champions League round of 16 clash. Surprisingly, the first ever time that Borussia Dortmund and Chelsea have faced each other. Given that Dortmund have been on the scene for so long, Chelsea Champions League regulars for a while, and that they both won the competition before, it's a bit of a surprise, that.
Yeah, they both played nearly 300 games in European competition, so to have not come up against each other yet is a big surprise. But you know, that doesn't matter right now at this moment. It matters about how both teams start this game. Dortmund will want a quick start. They'll want to put all the pressure on Chelsea, try and win this game as comfortably as possible to take a performance and a scoreline to Stamford Bridge, whereas Chelsea need to make sure that they can stand up to that, be positive. And if they could come away with here, even with a draw, I think that would be a good result. But if they could claim a victory, what a result that would be.
Trying to work out the Chelsea shape. It is that 4-1-4-1 type setup that Graham Potter has sometimes opted for, or João Felix maybe playing up top with Havertz.
Yeah, at the moment they've started quite positively. Two banks of four. João Felix right on top, up top with Kai Havertz. I expect we'll see him dropping deeper though, João Felix, as this game goes on.
Aller has it for Dortmund. Brandt sends it on wide. Opportunity knocks here. Clearance by Koulibaly wasn't great. Brandt with the effort, which is charged down. Alarm bells ringing there though. And then coming through the centre was Emre Can. He run out of road though, and João Felix leading the charge. Mudryk to the left-hand side, timed this run well. Can he get the ball out from underneath his feet towards the edge of the area? Oh my word, what a challenge that is. Absolutely exceptional defensive work to get back and nick the ball away by Schlotterbeck in the nick of time, because otherwise Mudryk was in for a shot at goal.
Yeah, it took him 2 attempts. He slid in brilliantly. Didn't quite claim the ball with the first slide and just managed to reach for it with his heel to claim the ball away from Mudryk. But that was a great counter-attack by Chelsea. They should have actually done better. Mudryk running in behind the opposition's defence, so much space to run into, but if anything, I'm got to be a touch critical of João Felix. He underhit the pass, played it a little bit behind Mudryk, who had to slow down to take the ball with him, and in doing so allowed that Dortmund defence to get back in. If João Felix could have just played it 5 or 10 yards ahead, nobody was catching Mudryk with the pace he even showed to get into that position. But really good signs for Chelsea there on the counter-attack.
Lively start to the game, goalless in Dortmund. Don't forget that there is live commentary at the moment on Arsenal against Manchester City on 5 Live, and there'll be reaction to all of the games this evening on the Football Daily for you first thing in the morning. Almost a loose pass which allowed Havertz to nip in, and he does just get the run on Zula and now chases the ball through the centre. Kobel comes out, bit of hesitation at the back from Dortmund, and Kobel is now rolling over, saying that he was caught late there. Referee being lobbied by the Dortmund players to maybe sanction Kai Havertz for that, but it was one of those balls that was there to be got at.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed if he didn't try and attempt to get it. The Dortmund defence slowed down, the keeper came out, really poor under-hit pass back, and Kai Havertz challenges for it, then tries to take the ball with him. In doing so, just knocked it too far ahead. Emre Can able to get across and just use his body to make sure Havertz couldn't really bear down on goal. Havertz just left his foot in on the goalkeeper, you're right, but don't see any issue with that. No yellow card, keeper's back on his feet. But again, positive from Chelsea.
Emre Can involved there, and he's actually been a big reason for Dortmund's fine run of form. 6 games in a row they've won since play got back underway in Germany after the World Cup and the winter break in the country. He and Julian Brandt have really been sparkling for them. Bellingham gets a lot of the headlines, understandably so, skippering the side in the Champions League again this evening, the England star, but Emre Can has really clicked in. Lothar Matthäus, no less, was singing the former Liverpool man's praises, saying that he's being played where he should be as a holding midfielder, and he's doing a great job in there.
There's no doubt that's his most natural position. He brings not only the ability of that position, but he's now got a lot more experience than he did when he played in England. He reads the game. Yes, his legs are aging, absolutely, but when you can bring that experience, I only think that's going to benefit not only the team, but the players around you.
Adeyemi coming forwards for Dortmund. Sloppy pass from him though, giving it away to Fernandes, and then the ball just breaks down and Kobel has it outside of his area for Dortmund.
Well, Chelsea have been sharp to any underhit pass from Dortmund. They're actually, I know we say it a lot, but they're playing on the front foot. They're not dropping off, allowing Dortmund to take nice easy possession into their feet. They're trying to step in front, make challenges, which I've got to be honest, I think suits this Chelsea team.
Emre Can just dropping deep, splitting those 2 centre-halves for Dortmund to try and get things going. Bellingham rolls the ball forwards to Julian Brandt, and now it's swept out wide, but it should have been by Salih Özcan. Wasn't the greatest pass from him. It's broken for Sebastian Haller. All of this on the right-hand side as Dortmund look at it. Chelsea with those blue shirts all back, blocking the route to goal. They're all back behind the ball now as Bellingham surges forwards from halfway, gliding towards a couple of Chelsea players. Fernandes stuck out a boot. It's broken the way of Reece James, who's leading the counter for Chelsea over the halfway line now. 0-0 between Chelsea and Dortmund, and the atmosphere has not abated one bit. It's that south stand that are making all of the noise. Haven't heard too much from the Chelsea supporters, just under 4,000 of them with tickets for this evening's game. There weren't many flights into Dortmund, so quite a few have had to come from other places. Bumped into a couple that had come via Cologne, Düsseldorf and Bremen, also airports that they've come into and then got the train across. And it was fairly lively in town last night, although Leon Osman wouldn't know anything about that.
No, I absolutely wouldn't, Mark. Early to bed for me, making sure I was well prepared for this game. But they were lively this afternoon as well, those Chelsea fans in the middle of town in the hundreds, close to thousands, enjoying the atmosphere. All well behaved as far as I could tell.
Ziyech for Chelsea then, in their blue strip, and Reece James with a lovely hooked crossfield pass, which Mudryk does well to control, wide on the left flank. He's got Chilwell for support as well. Mudryk doesn't need him though, bursting towards the edge of the area. Wow, look at that for a turn of pace from Mudryk, and he gets the ball in now towards Havertz. Desperate defending by Dortmund, who are under the pump at the moment. 7 minutes played, 0-0. Chelsea though coming forwards again. James has to opt to go back to Koulibaly, but blimey, that little burst from Mudryk had Dortmund all over the place.
It was just positive from him. He had 2 players ahead of him, and yet he thought, I could take you on. I fancy myself against both of you. And they dropped away. They started running before him, and he still managed to knock it past both of them and beat them. And I think Wolf actually tried to foul him to stop him progressing. The referee allowed play to continue, and wasn't far away from finding the head of Kai Havertz with his cross. So I was looking at that, I'd be thinking, let's get him the ball as often as possible, because he really fancies it.
Positive start from Chelsea then. Graham Potter down by the edge of his area, where he's berating João Felix for not closing down Schlotterbeck quickly enough, and he's able to shuffle it back to his goalkeeper Gregor Kobel. Edin Terzic and Graham Potter, the respective head coaches this evening, both know each other. They both did a coaching course in England together, and Terzic yesterday was telling us that he wouldn't have believed you if you told him a few years back when they were doing those qualifications that they'd be managing against each other in the Champions League. They're both up in arms here at the moment because there's a yellow card that's been brandished to Reece James for a challenge, and Graham Potter is lobbying the assistant referee, saying, why has he been given a yellow? We've just seen a replay of it, and he certainly stamps on Adeyemi. I don't think he can have any complaints, can he?
I think he can. I think he's won the ball. The follow-through stands on the foot, I think, of Adeyemi, but he certainly screamed really loud. I could hear it from all the way up here, and I do think we were talking about it before the game. If you scream loud, you do influence the officials, whether they like to admit it or not, and I think that as much as anything got Reece James the yellow card. He was stretching for it, yes, he was reaching with that left foot, but he clearly won the ball, and then his follow-through did stand on the foot of Adeyemi. I think that one's harsh.
He's not one of those that would miss the next game between these two if he was booked this evening. Mudryk and Koulibaly are treading that tightrope of the players that are on the pitch. Mason Mount and Conor Gallagher amongst the Chelsea substitutes are also having to watch their steps should they get on. Kepa with a goal kick for Chelsea, knocks it short. Just under 10 minutes played, and the goal kick wasn't great. Julian Brandt has managed to find Bellingham, centre field for Borussia Dortmund, and Zula into the feet of Brandt. Lovely turn and go from him, and it's worked its way to Adeyemi, edge of the area, quick interplay from Dortmund, and in the nick of time Thiago Silva scoops the clearance away with Haller in attendance.
Yeah, that was partly Chelsea's own doing in that situation. Just opened themselves up, went to play out from the back. Nothing wrong with actually playing long, but you've got to have better quality to drop it into your front men's feet. They were very wide open in midfield. Once Dortmund won the ball back, they easily attacked the heart of that Chelsea defence.
João Felix on the turn and go, and jinking and weaving and leaving a couple of Dortmund players on their backside. Offloads to Mudryk now, who tried to give it back to João Felix and would have done so had it not been for the quick covering of Marius Wolf to poke it behind for a corner.
Oh, that was brilliant feet from João Felix. Brilliant awareness of what was around him. And that link-up we've seen in the opening 10 minutes of this game looks like it could be a real threat. João Felix and Mudryk playing close together, trying to play on the same wavelength, looking to link up, catch each other's eyes for the timing of that pass, and to turn them a corner.
João Felix will take it, left-hand side for Chelsea then. Still awaiting the breakthrough in Dortmund as João Felix tosses in this in-swinging corner. Wasn't the greatest. Schlotterbeck got his head to it easily enough. Adeyemi's ball forwards is cut out by Reece James, who sends a long up and under forwards. Havertz opted out of going for it because he knew he was offside, so Ziyech arrives on the scene. Emre Can scrapping for it, works it to Adeyemi. Left back area this for Borussia Dortmund. Haller dispossessed and almost costly because Enzo Fernandez nearly managed to find a teammate by the edge of the area. Mudryk with the little flick in centre field, which doesn't come off, and now it's Bellingham with the crossfield sweep. He goes from right to left and picks out Rafael Guerreiro. Guerreiro darts in field to find Salih Özcan. He gives it back to Guerreiro, crossing position from the left, and he was looking for Adeyemi. Koulibaly comes across. First Borussia Dortmund corner of the game, and first big growl from the south stand as they see their team attack.
Yeah, good play from Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea tried to go in and win the ball. 2 or 3 players gambled to try and win it high up, got played around, and suddenly they had spaces to run into. Runners going beyond, and it was a really important inception, firstly by Loftus-Cheek and then by Koulibaly.
Corner kick then for Dortmund, 0-0, 12 minutes gone. Guerreiro's going to take it, left-footed, out-swinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a weak delivery, really. Second ball is picked up by Brandt, though. Disguised pass finds Guerreiro. Can he keep it in? Clips it across, dangerous. Thiago Silva's clearance isn't that far away, and Emre Can from distance deflects off Ziyech. Another Dortmund corner.
Yeah, I think it was actually comfortable defending from Chelsea. I think Dortmund moved it again really well, but I don't think they need to panic at this moment in time. They cleared their 6-yard box well, they defended it with a block really well. Just need to make sure you keep your concentration, keep doing your jobs. You're going to come under pressure at certain parts of this game. Make sure you're very professional about what you need to do.
Julian Brandt will take this corner then from the right-hand side. He scored against Werder Bremen at the weekend. It's been a good season for him in front of goal, and a good season for him generally. Really is purring at the moment as Brandt knocks it towards Can, who was waiting by the edge of the area, read by Koulibaly, whose header finds Salih Özcan. He pumps it into the Chelsea box again. Thiago Silva's header is intercepted by Wolf, and then Brandt has a little target, João Felix, as he easily got away from him. He feeds Havertz, left channel this for Chelsea. Havertz in field to Enzo Fernandez, who tries to work it wide to Havertz again, and he's done so. Havertz crossing position from the left. Niklas Zula took a gamble there, tried to improvise and make the clearance. It was a back heel over his own head and just about over his own bar.
Yeah, it was just about over his own bar. Didn't really know how he was defending that, but Chelsea look a real threat on the counter-attack here. Every time they pick the ball up after a Borussia Dortmund attack, there's spaces to run into, there's players getting forward, and if Kai Havertz would have just showed a little bit more quality there, picked out either of the 2 players he had inside that penalty area, it would have been a big chance for Chelsea.
Whistles greet the Chelsea corner, which is going to be taken by Ben Chilwell, but it is down in front of that pocket of Chelsea fans. I say pocket, almost 4,000 of them, but given that there's 80 odd thousand in the ground, it does feel just like a pocket of blue inside this wonderful arena. The referee is having a word with the cluster of Chelsea players who are crowding around Gregor Kobel and are continuing to keep close attendance to him. Chilwell has moved the ball just to the very edge of the quadrant, which the home fans weren't too happy about. Raises his arm now and gets ready to deliver this, left-footed. Not a bad delivery. Thiago Silva attacks it off a Dortmund player, behind for another Chelsea corner.
Yeah, a bit of nervousness about Borussia Dortmund defensively there. They're trying to pick up, they're screaming at the referee, they're trying to clear players from around their goalkeeper. Loftus-Cheek and Koulibaly in particular in that 6-yard box, trying to make it difficult for the goalkeeper. As that ball came in, I thought for a moment Thiago Silva was going to be on the end of it.
So, another Chelsea corner, which is now from that left-hand side. Kobel, difficult for him to deal with, got a fist to it. Sula helps it further away, wasn't the most convincing. Salih Özcan from inside the Dortmund area heads it clear, but it's only as far as Enzo Fernandez, so it's going to come back towards that Dortmund penalty area. Good period this for Chelsea. Good ball down the left as well for Mudryk to chase. Mudryk comes inside of Haller, goes over, and I thought somewhat theatrically, but the referee deemed it a foul. Chelsea free kick, very promising area on the left.
Yeah, I think it just was just about enough of a foul in there, but he's been bright. Mudryk, he's been featuring heavily for Chelsea. Real impetus down that left-hand side of their attack. We haven't really seen much of Ziyech early in this game. Everything has been down that side where Mudryk has been really bright and wins another free kick in a very dangerous position. And I've mentioned that Dortmund look a little bit nervy defending the corner kicks we've seen. We'll see if Chelsea can put similar quality in for this wide free kick.
So quarter of an hour played, Dortmund 0, Chelsea 0. Reece James is over there with Ben Chilwell. So two very able deliverers of dead balls are over it. Who is going to deliver? It's James who's gone for goal. I think it's in! Chelsea in front! But the goal is not given for handball. Referee has whistled and has got out a yellow card for Thiago Silva. Now, I thought at the time Thiago Silva ran away saying he wasn't going to celebrate. I thought because it was an own goal, but is it because he deliberately handled it?
Yeah, I mean, that was my initial reaction. I thought, why is he not celebrating? Why is he not running away? As just a former club I didn't know about, but he originally, straight away put his hand in the air and said, and pointed to his own hand. He apologised. He had his hands up defensively, said to the referee, it's me hand, and the referee then blew the whistle to give the free kick and then booked Thiago Silva, and that's what Thiago Silva isn't happy about. He says because he was honest they shouldn't receive the yellow card, but once you've committed that offence, the referee is always going to bring out his card book.
I also wonder if he was just indicating that perhaps he'd been slightly shoved forwards, not enough to warrant a penalty, but because he was shoved forwards, that's why his arms went up, and he was using that as mitigation. Didn't work. Referee still got out the yellow card.
No, it didn't, but again, big threat from deliveries into the penalty area from set pieces. I think Thiago Silva just reacted because he got across his player really well and thought maybe it was going to drop on his head. It was just above, and because of it, used his hands. Didn't trust one of his teammates might come in behind him. Yeah, we're just seeing the replay again. Clearly, he seems to bat it down, doesn't he, with his left hand into the back of the goal, and yeah, that one is rightly ruled out by the officials.
That's two of the Chelsea back four already on yellow cards, though. Reece James and Thiago Silva both collecting early caution. Still goalless then. Chelsea have had the better of it so far without Gregor Kobel in the Dortmund goal having to make a save as yet, and Kobel has the ball at his feet now, pumps it upfield, looking to try and find a run of Marius Wolf, who'd got forwards well from full back, and he might be able to chase this one down that right hand side. Chilwell's behind him, he's got the wrong side. Wolf with a chance, a cluster of Chelsea players there, deflects behind for a goal kick in the end. But on this occasion it was the alarm bells ringing in the Chelsea defence.
Yeah, it was. I was just thinking that Chelsea are playing really well here, and while they're on top they need to get a goal because Dortmund will have chances, and straight away Dortmund just went up the other end. Opportunity, as you said, Wolf in behind so easily, far too easily for Chelsea's liking, in behind the defence, running inside Chelsea's penalty area. They do get back, they do put him under pressure, but he's just had a complete swing and a miss. Well, not quite a miss, he's sliced it out the pitch, but completely out of control with regards to that finish. It looked like a finish of a defender really high up on the pitch, not really comfortable in that situation, and Chelsea will be pleased to see it go behind for a goal kick.
0-0 then, with half chances for both sides so far, but no real concrete opportunities. Adeyemi scrapping for it on halfway, Bellingham involved as well. Emre Can has worked it into Jude Bellingham, bit of room to work with, he spins it wide for Wolf. Forwards again well from fullback into the edge of the area now, and Haller. Bellingham with the neat layoff. Julian Brandt has worked it from right to left, low ball in towards Adeyemi, cut out by Thiago Silva, out for a Dortmund throw.
No, that chance, that opportunity has just brought Dortmund to life. They've just suddenly knocked 3 or 4 quick passes, gone through the heart of Chelsea's midfield, and now look like they're really going in search of a goal.
Centre field now with Schlotterbeck for Dortmund, allowed to advance towards the D of the area, and then spins a lofted ball out wide right, collected by Wolf, whose delivery is charged down by Chilwell. Didn't know where the ball had gone. Enzo Fernandez was there, but his ball upfield is picked up by Schlotterbeck, and the pattern has changed now. Dortmund were just hoofing it out and Chelsea were collecting possession. Roles reversed at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea will mind this too much from what I've seen in the opening 20 minutes of this game. Chelsea have looked bright on the counter-attack, so I don't mind Dortmund having a bit of possession just outside the penalty area. It gives them an awful lot of room to run into if they can retain good possession.
Ball given away cheaply though is Haller by the D of the area. Koulibaly stepped in very quickly. The ball has squirted out of play. It will be a throw to Dortmund level with the Chelsea penalty area. Taken into the feet of Julian Brandt, stabs it forwards to Bellingham. Lovely feet from Bellingham, has a go from the edge of the area, deflected away for a corner, and he then urges the yellow wall to really raise the volume, and he almost gave them something to shout about there, the way he shuffled the ball out from underneath his feet, and then his effort deflected for the corner.
Yeah, brilliant from young Jude Bellingham. Still forget he's only 19, captaining this side Borussia Dortmund tonight, and you know, just nearly made something out of nothing. Took the ball from a throw-in, got turned brilliantly, lovely bit of footwork to get past Chelsea midfield, and Koulibaly charged out to make the block.
21 minutes played, 0-0, Dortmund corner, and taken by Brandt, and it's into an area that Kepa should claim, and he came, caught it, dropped it, and then gathered it again.
Yeah, I mean, he claimed it, so he'll be pleased with that. Just, you're right, and for a moment there was a touch of concern. He does that at times, doesn't he? Just loses his concentration. Looked like it was going to be a comfortable catch for him. Nearly made a mess of it, but pleased to get it at the second attempt.
Loftus-Cheek collects back to goal and rolls it out to Reece James, who advances towards halfway. Now it's into Hakim Ziyech, who, as Leon was saying, hasn't seen a great deal of the ball. Early on, we did see some good link-up play down the left between Mudryk and Chilwell, and obviously that was something Graham Potter had to address at his media conference yesterday when it was put to him about the Cucurella and Mudryk relationship not quite functioning.
Yeah, but it's still early. You know, you need to get to know your partners on the pitch, your teammates. You get to know them as people. You get to understand their games as players. So, no concern about that as yet. But when you've got a squad like Chelsea and you've got so much room to making changes, it's no surprise to see left backs being changed in and out.
Mudryk putting the pressure on Zula as he tried to jockey the ball behind for a goal kick. It wasn't going to run, so he had to find his keeper Kobel, whose ball upfield is picked up by Havertz, and Havertz smashes it against Wolf, so Chelsea will have the throw about 5 yards inside the Dortmund area. And in Union, the Dortmund supporters will rise to their feet and start clapping and chanting and try to generate a bit of noise. It's felt a bit nervy from the supporters as well at times. Perhaps they were taken aback with the positive way in which Chelsea began the game.
Yeah, I expected that Dortmund would start this game really quickly, try and put some real pressure on this Chelsea team, a Chelsea team that's still getting to know each other because of all the signings, and they're not necessarily got the results in the Premier League, but Chelsea have started better.
Adeyemi now motoring towards the edge of the area, plays it across towards Haller, and there was Koulibaly in the nick of time. It's worked back though for Bellingham. Bellingham 25 yards out, spins it to Wolf, who's got the opportunity to lift it in. Too high for Bellingham, who got up but couldn't get near the ball. Brandt's picked it up, right side this for Dortmund. The ball is battered in and off a Chelsea body last. I think it may well have been Mudryk, and it's another Borussia Dortmund corner, their fourth of the game.
There have been some good headers won defensively by Chelsea already in this game. Thiago Silva and Koulibaly, when crosses are coming in, because they get numbers forward quickly. Dortmund with Haller and Bellingham attacking them. Those Chelsea centre-backs do need to be as assertive as possible.
24 minutes played, goalless. Corner is poor. João Felix, easy header away that just loops out for a throw to Dortmund, and Julian Brandt raises his hand to acknowledge that that was a pretty dreadful delivery from him. Wolf with his ponytail, goes across to get the ball and size up his options for where he's going to try and dispatch it to. Bellingham gives him the offer short. He goes into Julian Brandt, he gives it back to Wolf, who tried to work it down the line. Chilwell was there though, out for another Borussia Dortmund throw. A couple of the VIP boxes behind us here. There were a couple of excited fans who were going to get autographs earlier on. Said to one of them, which player is it that's injured that's up there? He said it's not a player, it's a YouTuber, which says a lot about where we are these days, I guess, Leon.
I certainly wouldn't know much about YouTubing, that's for sure.
I'm sure if you started your own channel, the subscribers would be knocking at the door to join up. Here is Loftus-Cheek then for Chelsea, midway through the first half. Intriguing, but genuine chances at a bit of a premium so far. Down the line here for João Felix for Chelsea, controls it neatly and has a dart at Zula and jinks and weaves his way into the area. Now he's looking for some support, works the ball into a good area by the D of the penalty area, but there was nobody in blue in the right place, and Dortmund have sent it up towards Julian Brandt, who shovels it backwards to Bellingham, who finds Adeyemi. He may have been offside, flag didn't come. Adeyemi now has Bellingham to his left, goes to Sebastian Haller instead, about 25 yards from goal. Haller, clever pass into Guerrero. Adeyemi, shooting chance. Great block by Thiago Silva. Made sure that he stayed up to the last moment and then just stuck out a boot.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good at both ends. This game's been bright. Chelsea nearly having an opportunity at one end. I think they lacked one of those two central midfielders, just trying to take up a position on the edge of the penalty area. They were very deep, nearly closer to the halfway line than the Dortmund penalty area, and if one of them just would have got into a more advanced position, there'd been a free shot from the edge of that penalty area. And then you're right, Dortmund counter-attack brilliantly. Bellingham, I mean, the distances he covers in such a short space of time, always incredible to see. And they nearly got in behind that Chelsea defence. Bright play again from them on the edge of the penalty area, but a good block.
Lots of talk about Jude Bellingham in the build-up to this. Dortmund once again reiterating that they want him to stay for a bit longer, but it's going to be tough to keep hold of him, given that there'll be a lot of suitors that will be coming knocking in the summer, you'd have thought. For now though, he is very much Dortmund's man, and he is going over to speak to the referee about a free kick that is in the centre circle for Dortmund to take. Goalless then at Signal Iduna Park. Capacity crowd here, 81,359 is the official capacity, and we're told that it is at that tonight as Brandt goes surging forwards and now finds Haller, angle against him, side netting. Well, he controlled it well, but it was a tight spot for him to be able to seriously test Kepa from, and he flashed it into the side netting.
Yeah, it was always difficult for him to score from that position, but the alarming thing was how easy Brandt got the ball in behind that Chelsea midfield, got turned. Enzo Fernandez couldn't get near him. Brilliant positioning, and he drives forward, plays it to Haller, who spun in between Chilwell and Koulibaly, took the ball really well with his first touch, but angle against him, pressure from Koulibaly, went to the near post, and Kepa didn't have to make a save in the end because he hit the side net. But again, good play from Borussia Dortmund. They're really growing into this game.
Kepa taking his time over this goal kick. He's got Thiago Silva and Koulibaly at the corners of the 6-yard box, and dummies to take it short to one of them, and still dummies. Now he eventually does, and being barracked by that massive yellow wall behind him about the perceived time wasting. And Chelsea do eventually have it, and then Havertz with a handball on halfway, and Dortmund have taken the free kick quickly. Just under half an hour played, 0-0 between Borussia Dortmund and Chelsea. It's second leg of this one in 3 weeks' time, 7th of March, when they will do it again at Stamford Bridge. And in case you're out of the loop, away goals are no longer a thing, so it's not quite as much of a nightmare for you if you do concede a goal on home turf. Schlotterbeck tidies things up and sends it back to Gregor Kobel inside his penalty area. Short pass in towards Niklas Süle, who's got Mudryk buzzing around him. Goes back to his keeper, who punts it long up towards halfway. Haller out-jumped by Thiago Silva. Breaks here for Loftus-Cheek in the centre circle. Swiveled into Havertz. Useful ball that. Havertz now 20 yards out has teed up Ziyech by the corner of the area. Ziyech looking for the curler and couldn't get the shot away quickly enough. Guerrero with the block, and Dortmund have it in centre field with Bellingham, who got his pass wrong, straight into the path of Koulibaly, who dabs it over the top. Ziyech has used his body well to get there ahead of Guerreiro, and done very well because he's then taken the contact from Guerreiro, which has meant that he's going to collect a free kick for Chelsea.
Yeah, I just felt the pressure coming on him, just put the brakes on slightly, had a little look over his shoulder. I think that Guerreiro was going to be too petulant to try and get the ball and brought the foul. But Chelsea again, just moments before, having a good opportunity, getting him behind that Borussia Dortmund midfield. Kai Havertz had two or three players either side of him to be able to pick out a good pass, and I think he chose wrong. I think he chose poorly, playing it to Ziyech. But Chelsea, both teams will actually be thinking at this stage that they can score goals. It's been an open first 29 minutes of this game. Surprised it's 0-0.
Corner wide right for Chelsea. James and Chilwell once again are both over it, and both in conversation. Can't exactly hear what each other are saying because they had to go closer to discuss the tactics. James swings it in, and it doesn't fall the way of a Chelsea player. It comes out for Enzo Fernandez. Clever lofted ball forwards. Koulibaly's up there, couldn't bring it down. Flags up anyway, and the offside is now confirmed by the referee. Blows his whistle. And just for a minute there, Chelsea looked like they might be in business.
They did. It was a clever bit of play from Enzo Fernandez. As that ball's headed out to him, edge of the penalty area, he looks like he's going to be having a shot. He's going to be pulling a trigger on the half volley, but he just lifts it over the top of that Dortmund defence, and didn't realise that so many Chelsea players were offside until I've just seen the replay, but they were.
Advantage played here. Havertz goes forward and is unable to turn it into one for Chelsea. Dortmund had three men back very quickly there, so it's with Guerreiro in the left back area. Plays it backwards of square to Can, who knocks it into the feet of Salihers-Can. Emre Can's generally been playing ahead of Salihers-Can, who's a very useful player, but has just dipped a bit performance-wise, and Edin Terzic has not been afraid to make some tough calls. He left Marco Reus out of the side as well, who is a Dortmund legend. He's been showing his teeth as a coach when he has been picking up the reins in his second spell, having been a temporary appointment after Lucien Favre was sacked a few seasons ago. In the centre circle now with Janu, knocks it square to Schlotterbeck, into Guerreiro, closed down quickly by Ziyech. Not much room to work with there for Dortmund. It's spun the way of João Felix, who works it into Ziyech, right flank for Chelsea. Back to João Felix, surely over the top. What a miss. That was a sitter for João Felix, teed up 12 yards out, and he is now looking stunned towards the Chelsea fans that he didn't put them 1-0 up.
Yeah, and he should be, because he should have put his team ahead here. I mean, it's really good play. João Felix starts the play off. It's good play, plays outside, waits his pass perfectly for Ziyech. He does it in turn back to João Felix, probably about 17-18 yards out, just inside the penalty area, and he's just weighing it up. He's opened his foot, side foot, goes to the top corner and just gets far too much on it. Huge chance. He had three other players up inside that penalty area with him, only one Dortmund defender back. Didn't have to shoot, but it was sat up perfectly to do so. Wasted opportunity.
Well, let off that for Dortmund. That's the clearest chance of the game so far, really. João Felix lifting over from just inside the Borussia Dortmund penalty area. So we still await the breakthrough. 32 minutes played. Bellingham centre field for Dortmund. Spins it out to the flank and then makes a run towards the edge of the area himself. Wolf doesn't find him though. Has gone backwards of square in towards Zula. Julian Brandt now collects with Fernandez quickly buzzing around him. It goes to that right-hand side for Dortmund. That's generally the flank that they've been using the most in the opening 33 minutes. Bellingham through the heart of midfield in towards Allaire, who tried to lay it off for Wolf, who has done brilliantly to keep it in on the far side and win a corner for Dortmund. Well, it looked as though there was no way he was going to keep the ball in there. Great athleticism to do so, and then smacks it against Koulibaly to win the corner.
Yeah, just more committed than Chilwell. Chilwell, you wouldn't have thought he was the left back there. You'd have thought he was the winger in that position. He just tried to lift it over Wolf as he came in, and Wolf just went clean through him, really committed to the tackle, won the ball. And once he's inside that Chelsea penalty area, he should have done a lot better, but so should Chilwell.
Corner's been taken short for Dortmund. Brandt towards the edge of the area. First time hit over the top. Well, Adeyemi had the opportunity, decided to smack it flush first time, and it didn't force the save from Kepa over the top.
Oh, it didn't. That was a wasted opportunity as well, but really well worked set piece from Dortmund. They've dragged two Chelsea players out. They went 2v2, all in to make sure that they got that effort from the edge of the penalty area from Adeyemi, and actually should have at least hit the target there. He would have been going through a lot of bodies. Should have done better than he did.
It's been the fabled South Stand that has been generating pretty much all the noise so far. Constant waving of flags in that stand that houses just under 25,000 supporters, and we were saying earlier, Leon, that we couldn't believe why so many fans were getting here so early, but obviously it's to get your spot because it's a standing stand.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first stand in the stadium that was full to the rafters. I mean, a good hour before the game, as you said, people making sure they got the spot that they're probably used to every single week. And it also sets the feel within the stadium really early, before the players even come out. There's singing, there's dancing, there's happiness coming from that yellow wall away to our left, and it's been a real sight to see.
The big wall against the big spenders was one of the terms that was used to describe this game, as Schlotterbeck has it for Dortmund by the corner of his penalty area and goes back to keeper Kobel. He was asked about the fact that Bayern Munich are apparently looking at signing him, and he said, I don't need to move to another club to win titles. We've got a chance of winning the title this season. They are 3 points behind Bayern at the summit of the Bundesliga. Bellingham, lovely flick ball forwards. Allaire chasing, gets to the byline, too tight to try and get a shot at goal. Showed too much of it to Thiago Silva as well, who just nipped in and tidied things up, as he so often does for Chelsea.
Just experienced defending. He knew that Sebastian Haller was stretching to try and keep that ball in, so he knew he wasn't going to cross it. He knew he was just going to have to put his foot on it and keep it back in, and he just read the situation, stepped across, took the ball. Brilliant defending.
10 minutes to go until half-time. 0-0 between Dortmund and Chelsea. Wolf gets towards that byline and then disguised pass into the feet of Emre Can, who's worked it back to Julian Brandt. Now Bellingham, who shuffles it across for Schlotterbeck, who's had a hit from distance, and was always going to be ambitious from him, about 30 yards out, deflected by Havertz, so it will be a throw for Dortmund. Guerrero goes across to take it for the German side. 6 wins in all competitions since football got back underway in Germany after the winter break. 5 in the Bundesliga, 1 in the Cup as well. Saw Werder Bremen by 2-0 in their most recent match. Edin Terzic says that they do have a sense of belief about them that they didn't have before the winter break, as Bellingham tries to manufacture something out of nothing inside the area, but bit off a bit more than he could chew. Chelsea clear their lines, and then João Felix has worked it on towards Havertz in the right flank area. Havertz back to Ziyech on halfway. He tries to switch it cross-field to Mudryk and has done just that. Mudryk's touch may have shown a bit too much of it to Wolf, but he shielded it well. Enzo Fernandez now 30 yards from goal has dug it across towards Ziyech, who stretches and gets his head to it. Nearly teed up Havertz. Jan's back there to help out his defence. Bellingham almost lost it in a bad area, but brilliantly comes away from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Striding forwards now, Jude Bellingham passes into the feet of Julian Brandt. Brandt advances 25 yards out, across now to Adeyemi in the area, who goes back to Bellingham, back to goal. Chelsea have got players there in front of him. Adeyemi with the cross, and too close to Kepa, who gathers.
Well, from box to box, this game's been played at a brilliant tempo. Both teams are enjoying counter-attacking on each other. Both teams are enjoying spaces to run in behind. Here we go again.
And it looks as though Havertz almost had the pace to get away from Zula, who's not the quickest. He's in the area now. Havertz tees up João Felix. João Felix gets away from his man. Must score off the bar. João Felix over the keeper. Couple of inches too high. Thuds against the crossbar. And fortunately for Dortmund, ends up in Kobel's hands.
Well, again, it's a great game. It's end to end. The only thing that's lacking for both teams really is that final finish, that moment of composure or quality. You expect João Felix to certainly bring it. That's twice he's had really good opportunities to open the scoring, and he's missed them both. It was a really good counter-attack again. Both teams enjoying counter-attack. Both teams look a real threat when doing so. João Felix, good bit of skill initially to get past the defender, but trying to lift it over the goalkeeper too much on it, comes back off the crossbar.
Zula's pace, or rather lack of pace, looks like something that Dortmund are going to have to contend with, because that's a few times now that he's been looking like he's been running in treacle.
Yeah, but his position is so aggressive. You spoke only probably about 2 minutes ago saying Zula's having a shot from 25 yards out. That was the centre-back stepping into that position, so he's given himself an awful lot to do to get back and then to defend against some of these pacey Chelsea attackers.
One of those is Mudryk, who's just overrun it, so it's broken for Emre Can, who's searched into the area. Koulibaly detailed to go and close him off, so Can has to recycle possession and work it back to Wolf, who's on the right flank for Dortmund. It's now in centre field with Schlotterbeck. We've got just over 6 minutes of normal time left in this first half, which has been a good watch despite the lack of goals. Schlotterbeck surging forwards, and then Reece James smacks the ball against him. It comes to Ziyech. Again, this is in the Chelsea right-back area. Now it's right back into their own penalty area, and Thiago Silva, who plays it across to Mudryk. It's going to be collected on the left by Chilwell, just shy of halfway for Chelsea. Chilwell checks inside and picks up Enzo Fernandez, who slows it down to a walking pace and finds Chilwell once again. And all the players have now assembled their positions and they've reset.
Yeah, well, you know, Chelsea had an opportunity to counter-attack there again, but João Felix just telling everybody to slow down, because there's been an awful lot of running for the strikers in this game, probably something they're not used to. The speed at which both teams are trying to attack, you can't keep it up. You can't keep playing at that tempo without just having a break, and I think that's what Chelsea are doing at the moment, just retaining the ball. Dortmund dropped away as if to say, go on, we'll actually need a break too.
And João Felix has collected it now and works it to Chilwell on the left. First time ball in, dangerous. Havertz tried to just go for that sort of back-heeled finish, but didn't get any contact on it. Came all the way across the face of the 6-yard box, and Borussia Dortmund have it with Salierzian, who knocks it into Bellingham. And again, it's that basketball match type feel that Leon was talking about. It's lifted forwards towards Adeyemi. Thiago Silva's underneath it, judged it perfectly, and the ball drops into the path of Loftus-Cheek. So after Dortmund attack, now it's Chelsea's turn to come forward.
The spaces are growing. The midfielders there, I'm just looking at them. Dortmund's midfield, Emre Can and Özcan just looking at each other as if to say, are you going to close them down? No, hang on, let's just get our breath back for a moment. And yeah, the pace of the game has been very, very good. Chelsea just having a chance there. As you said, Havertz trying a back heel. If they come off, you look brilliant, but he did have other options. He could have controlled it, he could have gone with his other foot across the defender, but again, another opportunity.
Mudryk rolls his foot over the ball and advances towards the corner of the area, and then goes for goal, and it comes off Bellingham and goes behind for a Chelsea corner. But Mudryk there with all the tricks as he jinked and weaved his way to the edge of the box.
Yeah, lovely, 3 or 4 step overs, allowed Chilwell to use that overlap and run, stepped inside and went to bend it in the top corner. Jude Bellingham, no surprise, was the player to get across and put the block, and he's hurt himself actually in doing so. Looks like it's maybe just come off the toe and opened up his knee or his ankle or something, but just taking a moment to compose himself.
João Felix now sorting out his hair while he gets ready to deliver this corner. It's an in-swinger. Kobel's blocked off, can't get there. Schlotterbeck got his head to it. Now the whistle goes because the goalkeeper was just being blocked there. So it's a free kick for Dortmund, basically on their goal line.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the referee's just speaking to Chilwell. We're seeing the replay. I don't think Chilwell does an awful lot wrong, if I'm being completely honest. He just stands in front of Kobel and just makes sure he can't come out and try and punch the ball. The referee, I think he's giving him a nice easy one there and letting them off the hook, because again, Chelsea look a threat from set pieces.
A couple of minutes to go until the break, goalless, but a good watch this between Borussia Dortmund and Chelsea. When the draw was made, Chelsea would have been pretty confident, because Dortmund weren't exactly pulling up any trees, but it's a different Dortmund side now as Brandt gets towards the byline and has completely left Chilwell on his backside. Goes back for Wolf's first time hit, and Kepa on the stretch doesn't need to get a touch. It drifts wide, but that was an opening for Dortmund after Chelsea had been knocking at the door.
Yeah, good play. And as you mentioned earlier in commentary, Dortmund have been really good down that right-hand side. Brandt and Wolf have been linking up well, overlaps. This time it's an underlap. Really poor defending, I have to say, from Chilwell. Brandt gets down that right-hand side, just fakes to cross, and Chilwell goes for it. Hook, line and sinker, slides all the way off the pitch, and he chops inside, sets up his right-back, who flashes his shot just wide of that far post of Kepa. But good play again from Dortmund.
Leon Osman with us on Sports Extra, and BBC Sounds will have reaction to this game and that big Premier League encounter between Arsenal and Manchester City for you on the Football Daily first thing in the morning. And while you're there on BBC Sounds, make sure that you check out Jermaine Defoe's latest podcast, Outside the Box. It's a fly on the wall podcast series which follows his journey into the world of coaching after retirement. Well worth a listen, that, as James gets ready to take this throw for Chelsea, which is just inside the Borussia Borussia Dortmund half, right-hand side, into the feet of Havertz, who lofts it all the way back to Koulibaly, who has to scamper after it. Pass wasn't anywhere near him, but there's no pressure on the ball, so in his orange boots, under no pressure, he can find it to Chilwell. The South Stand again starts to do that jumping up and down, all in the same time that is synonymous really with German grounds. And well, it is really bouncing when you see that.
Yeah, it's incredible, you know, to see the stand. Well, it looks like it is moving, you know, they're jumping up and down throughout. I mean, say 25,000, 18,000 of them must be jumping up and down at the moment. Makes for an incredible sight, incredible atmosphere. Flags are waving, drums are being played. It's a
bit like a night out with you.
It's just as entertaining as the game.
Bellingham loses possession on halfway. We're into the final minute of normal time in the first half. Loftus-Cheek in the centre circle with a ball that he's dug out to find Ziyech well on the right flank. Ziyech has Guerreiro for company. He's seen off the Portuguese and found Reece James, and now Ziyech goes for the early whip ball in. Salihirjan makes the block, and then Ziyech is out-muscled by Adeyemi. He's gone down, wants the free kick, he won't get it. Loftus-Cheek is there to nick it off Adeyemi and send it back to his keeper Kepa. Ziyech is off the pitch, so if he wants to get any treatment he can. They don't need to stop the game. Chelsea will have to carry on with 10 men.
Yeah, and I didn't think it was a foul on him either. He just took too long. Didn't think he was going to get any pressure from Adeyemi, who, not for the first time today, showed he's very committed. Some great tackles and going in from both teams in this game. And Adeyemi come out on top in that one.
It's Chilwell for Chelsea on the left flank. Can't find any room, so it's gone out for a throw, and we're not going to have any stoppage time. The referee, Jesus Gil Manzano, says that is that for the first half, and despite the lack of goals, Leon Osman, it has been thoroughly entertaining.
Oh, that's flown by. Didn't even realise it was half time. It's just been so entertaining. It's been end to end. There's been chances for both teams. The problem is neither team has found the target. I'm just looking at the stats. 11 attempts from Dortmund, none on target. 4 attempts for Chelsea, none on target, but they were big attempts for Chelsea. Each one of them should have been a goal. Plus you had the goal disallowed for the handball. It's been non-stop. It's been played at a brilliant tempo, and I hope the managers don't change too much at half time, because I'm really looking forward to this second half.
Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll be back for full second half commentary here on 5 Sports Extra, but there is a massive match happening in the Premier League tonight. Arsenal taking on Manchester City at the Emirates, and during half-time here we can join 5 Live's commentary of that match with John Murray, Matt Upson and Chris Sutton.
And when they then went into the area, I think it's the legs, it's all very gangly and awkward, and I think it's the legs. He falls into Haaland, who goes down, but as Chris has said, maybe the key thing is the initial ball to Haaland. He may well be in an offside position.
It's from a tackle, so it's wide, and there's a tackle comes in. I think it's Kyle Walker who tackles the ball, and Haaland is in an offside position from what I see on a free. I haven't seen the lines, but
we haven't seen the lines yet.
It just caught Gabriel out. He didn't expect the ball to come straight back at him as he's coming up. They're now drawing the lines.
We're about to see it on
replay.
our little screen here.
He looks offside
with
though,
a
John,
naked eye. It looked as though Haaland, when the ball was played through to him before the wrestling began between Gabriel and Haaland, and now they're zooming in on it. They're zooming in. Well, they've zoomed to the wrong place. Hang on, let's go right now. It's back to the right place, and we're going to see the lines in a moment. And I mean, unless I'm very much mistaken, as we all agree, that's going to be offside.
Yeah, it's so hard to determine the contact on the ball. Is it because it's a tackle? It's quite a wild swing from Kyle Walker as he just goes to tackle the ball right on the touchline. And you look at Gabriel's body position, he's just not expecting that ball to come back at him, which is why he gets caught out. And I agree, Haaland just is too strong for him, and it is a penalty.
I think the reason that this is taking such a long time was that the initial pass was from Kyle Walker near the halfway line, so it's a long pass.
Offside.
So they've had to make sure. Yeah, there we are. Graphic correction has come up. I'm not sure I've seen that before, but that means it's not a penalty. Haaland was in an offside position, and therefore it's a free kick to Arsenal. And also that yellow card for Gabriel has been it's been chalked off. So Gabriel is not booked. It's not a penalty. It's a free kick to Arsenal, and it's still 1-1. And I think also another interesting aspect of that is after the shocking weekend for VAR, they took a long time over that. There was no rushing that.
Yeah, they probably remembered to draw the lines and draw them straight, John.
But I just
nothing but praise from you this evening for referees and VAR, Chris.
I just sense with the change with the PJMOL, there was a feeling that decisions needed to be done quickly, which perhaps was one of the reasons that we ended up with what we saw last weekend.
Definitely, I completely agree with that. I think it's rushed, feel under pressure with the time, because it takes, when you've got multiple checks, it's going to take 2-3 minutes, John, isn't it? And that was a good
rushing, increased pressure leads to human error,
mistakes, and that's, what was that, 2.5 minutes roughly, you'd have to say? 2 minutes to look at that, it's quite a long time.
But we've got to get it right on a night like this.
What I will say is, for Gabriel there, that is the perfect little live nut, that little nudge to say, hey, you've got to tune in. And it doesn't matter if it's a tackle, doesn't matter if Arsenal are in possession of the ball, you've got to be ready for that ball to get over your shoulder straight away, and he just switched off for a split second there.
And interestingly now, as a follow-up, inside the Manchester City half, an aerial challenge here, Chris Sutton, and Haaland, I think, has caught Gabriel. I mean, he was being sandwiched by two Arsenal players, and I think it was the arm of Haaland has caught the back of the neck of Gabriel, who has gone down, and now he needs treatment.
I think he's just using his arm to fend as such, and it's not that he throws an elbow or anything. I think that he's perfectly entitled to use his arm in that manner. His arm is actually quite low. Gabriel stoops to head the ball, and
he has a little look though, Chris, doesn't he? Knows where he is.
I think he's entitled to try and use his body and win the ball.
Incidentally, in the change now, it's Mahrez who's coming off and Akanji's coming on. So Mahrez off and Akanji on. But just first of all, after what happened on Sunday when Mahrez took the penalty, not Haaland, did anyone see who was shaping up to take that penalty for Manchester City?
No. Did you?
No,
John?
I didn't. But it'd be interesting. That's an interesting call as well. But what about this then? Akanji on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is any great surprise, because, Bernardo Silva, we talked about in that left-back position. We wondered before the game, would Pep risk? Hang on a minute.
Ball played forward for Haaland for Manchester City, 25 yards out. Now slips it forward, but he went left, Gundogan went right, and Arsenal were able to clear through Tomiyasu.
And so Ake's gone into the left-back position to try and take care of Saka.
And Bernardo Silva has now moved across from left back to right wing. As Grealish takes it forward towards the byline. Tomiyasu in with a challenge. Referee Taylor says final touch was off the Manchester City man. It's a goal kick to Arsenal. And was that a yellow card for dissent from Grealish?
From Grealish. I think Grealish has walked back, said something to the referee, and he's got the yellow card out, and he's now having a word with Gundogan, as Grealish is still complaining. But I think that switch we've just seen, it makes total sense, doesn't it, Chris, really? Just to go to a back four and just to say to Nathan Ake, this is your job now, left back, 1v1s with Saka, and be solid as a back four.
Saka's capable of 1v1 situations going past anybody, but I think we all feel that Ake is better suited in those 1v1 situations against Saka.
So Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. Still Borussia Dortmund 0, Chelsea 0 in the Sports Extra commentary match live from Germany. Still Club Brugge 0, Benfica 0 as well. And tomorrow night commentary on Barcelona, Manchester United from 5:45. Early kickoff in the Europa League knockout round. Throw-in that Ake will take. Arsenal fans are saying that he's stolen some yards up the left-hand side, but throw-in was taken, put out of play. Another throw-in to Manchester City, almost halfway inside the Arsenal half. Ake take this back into his own territory. Oh, and Diaz is caught there by Saka. He cleared it away. There's a high foot, and the Manchester City players are demanding a yellow card.
I think they're demanding more, but it shouldn't be more. It's a bouncing ball, and Nketiah raises his boot to try and block the clearance. Was it Diaz? Yeah. And he catches if he's trying to block the ball. I think it's a yellow card. It's no more than that. But the way the Manchester City players City overreacted. That's not on.
It's just because his studs were up, wasn't it? But like you say, it's a genuine attempt just to try and tow the ball away before Diaz gets there, but he's just a fraction too late.
Diaz is okay, didn't need treatment, and it is yellow card for Nketiah. And Pep Guardiola, just down in front of us, is being goaded by the Arsenal fans behind him, turns around and glares at them and then ignores them. Brown hoodie tonight. Arsenal 1, Manchester City 1. Diaz drives this free kick long to the edge of the area where Zinchenko heads it back to Ramsdale. He was able to quickly gather it to his left. So 1-1 the score.
I mean, just look how high Manchester City are. When Ramsdale has that ball, all of a sudden De Bruyne, Gundogan, Silva, that Grealish, they all just pushed in as Ramsdale looked to distribute the ball early, but there's no space to play out.
And they're doing that, and it's played forward by Gabriel, and then Zinchenko plays it infield. It hits a Manchester City man, bounces out of play, and Zinchenko, just waiting for the ball to be thrown back to him, just tries to whip up the crowd down here to our right. Didn't take much doing. Still 1-1, so Arsenal would maintain their 3-point lead at the top. Manchester City have played one more match as well, remember. Throw-in taken. Xhaka volleys it over the halfway line, and Saka backing into Akanji. They're claiming that he was being held. Referee waves play on. Saka to Odegaard. Tomiyasu on the overlap. Tomiyasu now, his ball right across the 6-yard box, and Nketiah sliding in. Couldn't get a touch. He ended up in the back of the net, but the ball in the full-back area. Now it's played forward by Jorginho. Takes a deflection, and Walker's able to see it behind for a goal kick.
Great advantage, wasn't it, from Anthony Taylor? Let the play go on, and Nketiah was clearly fouled by Akanji, and Saka moves the ball out right. Tomiyasu on the overlap. Oh, it's a good ball. I think Nketiah was offside anyway, but it wasn't far away. Nketiah there.
I mean, it came from that hold-up play from him, though, Chris, didn't it? We've talked about. I mean, how well did he do there to get hold of that ball? I mean, just to use his body, get in the way of Akanji. You wouldn't have seen Nketiah do that 12 months ago.
Arsenal's top scorer this season, Jesus, he's here tonight. I've seen pictures of him. Partey as well, by the way. Thomas Partey ruled out with a thigh injury, but he is here watching on. And Arsenal take the throw, even though Xhaka is down on his knees on the halfway line. Arsenal get play moving again. Ramsdale with a clearance. Odegaard still inside his own half, then challenge on Tomiyasu. Manchester City have got it back. Grealish running goalwards, and then Saka tackling back all over the back of Grealish. That's given us a free kick. Arsenal protest about this one, but free kick to Manchester City out towards the left-hand side.
Yeah, I think it's shoulder to shoulder, and Grealish, I think he's the master of simulation. I do. Goes down so easily. I think Saka's entitled to lean into him. Grealish leans into him. Saka's stronger. Manchester City get awarded a free kick, I can tell you.
Is there a tangle of legs there as well?
I think the legs tangle, but I think Saka's just slightly behind Jack Grealish, just a fraction with the legs. The shoulders are there, but his legs behind him. I think they've just tangled. It
doesn't take much for
Grealish
to go over, does it?
But it looked a lot worse than what it was, I think.
Free kick then, nevertheless. De Bruyne to take this. Arsenal's line is on the edge of the area, so it's out towards the left-hand side. De Bruyne, the only candidate to take it. In comes the free kick, and it's headed by Ake. Comes off Ramsdale, bounces down to Kanji. That's blocked on the line, and Arsenal get it away, and they are living very dangerously there. One block, one save, could have gone in easily, but it remains 1-1.
Well, I just wondered whether Ake had made his run too early. He did do. I think it was Rodri with the header. Bounces in front of Ramsdale. Sits up, hits Ramsdale on the shoulder, and then Jorginho right place at the right time. I don't think the goal would have stood.
Yeah, I think had it come to it, had the ball ended up in the back of the net, that would have been rolled. Given away by Zinchenko. Bernardo Silva across. Haaland's onto this. Ramsdale comes out, and Ramsdale's able to grab the ball off the feet of Haaland.
What a reaction, Aaron Ramsdale. Absolutely brilliant, sloppy play from Zinchenko. Too casual with the ball. It's a poor pass he tries to play back, but look how quickly the Arsenal goalkeeper reacts. He gives Haaland absolutely no space. Comes all the way out, gets low, and just smothers the ball. Brilliant reaction from Ramsdale.
Zinchenko against his old club. He must have had his heart in his mouth, but it's still 1-1, and now Zinchenko is coming forward with it in that midfield area, and now to the left-hand side to Xhaka. Still no Trossard. You think Mikel Arteta must be thinking of him. Martinelli has been quite quiet in the match, and then Saka goes down again near the edge of the box. Bernardo Silva clears. Anthony Taylor's not having that as a free kick. It's been a testing match, this. Anthony Taylor, having just come back from Morocco, refereeing the Club World Cup final at the weekend, has had to be on top of this. People will debate whether that should have been a penalty in the first half for Arsenal, but he was very definite. Arsenal with the ball in front of their own penalty area, knocking it across to Gabriel. Little pass to Jorginho. He turns. Jorginho on his full debut for Arsenal through the middle. Odegaard now to the left-hand side. That's taken on by Xhaka, and then Xhaka overhits his ball for Nketiah by some distance actually, and it's through for a goal kick. And Mikel Arteta suddenly is all animation there after seeing that error from Granit Xhaka, and now all manner of gesticulations from Arteta. What does that mean? He's now slapping his hand on his knee, waving his arms, pointing. It's all out towards Tomiyasu, is it?
What, you mean you can't understand that, John?
Hey, listen.
Tell you what they did do. They played out brilliantly, didn't they? Odegaard going really deep to get the ball. Very courageous on the half turn. And they played to the final third, and it's just that final ball from Xhaka. He overweighted, needed to take a little bit more care.
Phil Foden's warming up, and 1-1 the score. Still 0-0 between Borussia Dortmund and Chelsea in the Sports Extra commentary match. 5 Live Sport on air till 10:30 tonight, so we'll have all of the reaction. If you don't hear it later, it'll be on the 5 Live Football Daily podcast, which you can get from BBC Sounds. Arsenal give it away. Gabriel, Bernardo Silva plays it through. Haaland is onto this. Haaland square, Gundogan square, Grealish right foot. 2-1 Manchester City, and Jack Grealish races away and slides on his knees, and Manchester City have restored their lead. The champions 2-1 up here at Arsenal.
Yeah, another mistake from Arsenal.
Well, we have just heard that goal go in on 5 Live. You can follow the conclusion of that match on 5 Live. Manchester City now 2-1 up at the Emirates. Here at Signal Iduna Park, Graham Potter has just emerged from the tunnel. His Chelsea players are all already out there. No sign of any of the Dortmund players as of yet. No sign of any changes in the Chelsea lineup either. The temperature has certainly dipped a bit. I've needed to get myself a bit more wrapped up. Leon's looking very smug with his heated gilet on at the moment, and now the Dortmund players emerge and run across towards that south stand. The flag's out once again, and Leon, one of the things that we picked up on the first half, great watch, but neither side had a single attempt on target.
No, nothing actually on target, no saves for the goalkeepers to make yet. From 6-yard box to 6-yard box, it's been a very, very entertaining game. Both teams going toe-to-toe, trying to create things from having possession of the ball, but both teams actually looking at their best on the counter-attack. So it's been played at a really good tempo, but I'm sure the messages from the managers at half-time is let's start forcing the goalkeepers to at least make saves.
So we are back underway. Chelsea kicking from right to left in this first half, so they are attacking that massive yellow wall of Dortmund supporters and have whipped the ball into the penalty area that is in front of that yellow wall. Mudryk has gone across to pick up the second ball. He's got 2 Dortmund players with him, so opts to go backwards to Chilwell, and now those fans in that end find their voice, and we get the first reverberations in this second half. Chelsea still in possession. I'll run you through the two teams in just a second, but they still have it in an advanced area. Now it's back with Reece James. James and Thiago Silva were both booked in the first half, by the way, so we'll just need to watch their steps with any challenges as the match goes on. Enzo Fernandez for Chelsea. Whistles will tell you that it's the team in blue who are in possession, with João Felix, who knocks it into the feet of Reece James. James back now for Loftus-Cheek, who's got a bit of room to work with, surges into a pocket of space and then finds a couple of yellow shirts blocking his route any further forward. Jude Bellingham, one of them, so Chelsea build again. Koulibaly in the centre circle. The whistles grow ever louder. Chilwell on the left has Julian Brandt going to close him down, and Dortmund organised and disciplined, and Chelsea have to retreat. Leon Osman.
Yeah, I was wondering what the messages would be from the managers at half time, because we don't want the entertainment to stop. We want to see teams going at each other like they did in the first half, but managers will always give their team information to try and stop the opposition's successes, and Dortmund have actually dropped away at the start of this second half, allowing Chelsea to have possession of the ball. Didn't see that much in the first half.
Mudryk with a good run and a lovely pass to find Chilwell, and his attempted cutback is blocked off by Emre Can, but it goes off him last for a Chelsea corner.
Yeah, good play from Chelsea. And Chilwell bursting inside that penalty area. One of those underlapping runs that he's very good at. He's one of the best at timing his runs on that underlap. As Mudryk comes in off that wing and just plays it brilliantly. And Emre Can was the one who spotted the danger, got across, and Chelsea forced a corner.
João Felix is going to take it, although he's been told that he's got to put the ball in the quadrant. And the cheers from the home supporters as he does just that. Raises an arm in the air now and gets ready to deliver this corner. Kobel on the stretch gets a couple of hands to it, but it has broken favourably for Dortmund. Adeyemi now on halfway, tries to smuggle it across to Bellingham, who's racing over to keep the ball in play. Chilwell takes it off his toes, and it's found its way to João Felix, who gets away from Julian Brandt and then goes over in a crumpled heap and gets the free kick slap bang on the halfway line. So Chelsea look like this: Kepa in goal, Chilwell, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly and James their back line, Enzo Fernandez and Loftus-Cheek behind João Felix, with Ziyech and Mudryk either side of Kai Havertz. Mudryk on the left has it for Chelsea, and free kick has been awarded and yellow card is out. It's going to go the way of the Dortmund skipper, Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, just looked a little late, Jude Bellingham. He's full throttle in everything he does, and he charged across to try and make a challenge on Chilwell. I'm just seeing it back now. Does he actually touch Chilwell? I don't think he actually does. Chilwell's quick and knocks the pass off and jumps out of his way, goes to ground certainly. Jude Bellingham quick to get in the face of Ben Chilwell and tell him exactly what he thought of that.
So that's the first Dortmund player in the book this evening, and they have Kobel in goal, Guerrero, Schlotterbeck, Zula and Wolf their backline. Bellingham's in the midfield with Emre Can and Salih Özcan, Julian Brandt and Karim Adeyemi supporting the striker Sebastian Haller. And by the way, if you haven't seen it, great piece on the BBC Sport website with Simon Stone, who came over to Dortmund to interview Sebastian Haller. Really emotional interview with the Dortmund man, talking about his testicular cancer diagnosis and the long road to recovery from that, urging everyone to get themselves checked as well, talking about the fact that no one should be embarrassed when it comes to things like that. Well worth a few minutes of your time. Here are Chelsea at the moment, though, with Havertz in centre field. I thought he just lost his footing, but the referee has given a free kick for a challenge by Sula, and Chelsea have taken it quickly. So it's left-hand side with Mudryk now. Mudryk towards the corner of the box, and Brandt has done well to just pick his pocket, but he's got Mudryk on his case now and eventually just slaps it long towards halfway. Haller can't beat Koulibaly to it, so Loftus-Cheek can knock it back to Thiago Silva. And with 4 minutes gone in the second half, it's still 0-0. Leon Osman.
Yeah, Chelsea have started the second half well. Possession wise, they've took the ball. As we said, Dortmund happened to drop away a little bit, and most of Chelsea's best moments came on the counter-attack. So different proposition in the second half, more of the ball, and they unlock this Borussia Dortmund's defence.
Seem to be playing a lot higher up the pitch, Chelsea, and Koulibaly is up there on the left wing at the moment, in towards João Felix, who couldn't sort his feet out. Havertz had a chance to have a shot at goal. There were too many players in front of him, and now Fernandez has a strike which is charged down. It's Chelsea who are continuing to push and probe at the early stages of this second half though. Ziyech goes back to Reece James, right wing for Chelsea. James into Enzo Fernandez, who's worked it to the D. João Felix. Felix a bit slack with his pass, but gets fortunate because it's broken for Fernandez again. Fernandez gets it past Adeyemi and out to Ziyech, who's got the opportunity to whip the cross in. Too high though for Havertz and safely gathered by Kobel. Good start to the half from Chelsea.
Yeah, it is a good start. Really good feet from João Felix and Koulibaly, who was very advanced in that attack, and they just couldn't quite get that half a yard for at least one of their players to get a shot through the defence. João Felix tried, Enzo Fernandez tried. Chelsea ended up crossing the ball from Ziyech on that far side of the pitch with only Kai Havertz actually in the penalty area, and it was easy for Dortmund to defend.
Dortmund then with Zula, they've yet to really get out of their own half in this second half. Zula plays it square to Emre Can, who once again is splitting those two centre halves. It's with the other of the centre halves now, Schlotterbeck, just shy of halfway, closed down by Havertz, finds Salih-Özcan. This is still in the Dortmund half though. Chelsea content to let them knock it around there. João Felix goes to close down Zula, and Emre Can now a couple of steps from him into the Chelsea half and a square ball, but it's not as direct as what we've seen from Chelsea. It's a little bit more timid when Dortmund are knocking the ball around. They've found Wolf on this right flank. He's had to retreat a few yards though and find Emre Can. There's a bit more cut and thrust about Chelsea's play.
Yeah, Dortmund finally got good possession of the ball in Chelsea's half, which happened quite regularly in the first half, but they're not playing at the tempo they did for most of that first half. Chelsea won't mind this because they've counter-attacked from these positions really well.
Clearance from Chilwell will be picked up by Schlotterbeck. 7 minutes gone in the second half, 0-0, and still no attempts on target for either side, as Allaire collects just by the edge of the centre circle, shuffles it to Bellingham, loose pass by him, and then Bellingham, who's already on a yellow, has just dived in there, and I think he is very, very lucky not to have picked up a second caution. Chelsea on the move though with James towards the edge of the area. He's then pulled back. That will be a free kick and a yellow card for Emre Can, but Chelsea are asking why there wasn't one for Jude Bellingham for the earlier challenge, and I think the Dortmund skipper is extremely fortunate.
Oh, I do myself. I think that when you are on a yellow card, for you to stretch and leap in that way, I mean, Jude Bellingham's now walked 20 yards to go and apologise to Ruben Loftus-Cheek, so he chose there was contact, and he feels that he needs to apologise to the Chelsea player, but the referee allowed play to continue, let him off the hook in that moment. Chelsea actually quite positive with the counter-attack, really good endeavour from Reece James, winning this free kick on the edge of the Dortmund penalty area.
Well, it has been an excellent start to the second half from Chelsea. 7 minutes of it gone, and now a free kick in a good area, especially when you consider the amount of talent at their disposal at striking balls from this kind of range.
Well, usually you get one person stood over the ball. Chelsea had 5 a moment ago, and they're all just discussing which one of them has the right to take this free kick. They're one by one just walking away from it. We're still left with Reece James, we're still left with Ziyech, and we're still left with Thiago Silva. Enzo Fernandez going back now, he's having another word, see if he can get involved. Real quality.
Well, at the moment, James, Enzo Fernandez and Ziyech are all in close conversation. Thiago Silva is trying to get a message to the Chelsea players that are trying to infiltrate that yellow wall of Borussia Dortmund players, and it is a yellow wall. Almost all of them are back there.
It's a really big wall as well, so maybe they have to do something clever or just go for pure power.
It's James over the wall. Kobel has to make a save. Comfortable enough for him, but a couple of steps to his left and then patted it away.
Yeah, it's real quality from Reece James to be able to get the ball up and over such a big wall, get it back down on target. Yeah, the goalkeeper looked relatively comfortable, but that's just because he could move his feet so quickly as a goalkeeper. Gambled, it was going behind the wall, made the save.
Emre Can has now just gone and shoved Ben Chilwell over, and he's complaining to the referee, and again he's got to be careful. He's already on a yellow, could quite easily get another yellow for dissent there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that one's quite a yellow card. It is a barge in the back rather than a shoulder to shoulder. That
it's the back chat afterwards, you know.
Emre Can's trying to claim, but Chelsea will be quite pleased with this, that they're on top, that they're making Dortmund defend that yellow wall that's trying its best to help them out, and Chelsea have Dortmund rattled at the moment, both having to defend solidly and making rash challenges.
Chilwell with his free kick for Chelsea, who have been the dominant force since half-time, but it's still 0-0 at Signal Iduna Park. In from Chilwell, good looking ball in, which wasn't very well defended. Ziyech will keep it going for Chelsea on that right-hand side, back to Enzo Fernandez. First time ball in from him was useful, more up than out by Adeyemi. João Felix says he was barged over, referee's not buying it, but Chelsea still have possession with Reece James. Dortmund need to sort themselves out because it's one-way traffic right now. They look a bit like a rabbit in the headlights. And now Reece James, who's already on a yellow card, is accused of holding on to the ball when Dortmund wanted to take a quick free kick. And again, that's a bit dicey.
Yeah, Reece James definitely doesn't need to get involved. He's frustrated because he thought he'd earned his team a foul. It would have been a soft one, but I've certainly seen them given. His frustration led to, as you said, him getting involved in something unnecessary.
56 minutes played, 0-0. Adeyemi gets to the byline, gets it in, but who's in the right place once again? Yep, Thiago Silva always seems to be in just the right spot. Jan from distance has had a hack at goal from fully 35 yards out and is unhappy that João Felix challenged him, but I don't think that affected the accuracy of his strike.
There was a bit of pressure from João Felix, and Emre Can could just feel him breathing down his neck, and just made him rush the shot slightly, completely sliced it, and then went to ground trying to claim a free kick from the referee, but the referee wasn't being conned on that occasion, close enough to see it clearly.
Well, don't forget, you'll get all the reaction to this game and the match at Arsenal on the Football Daily as Adeyemi comes forwards again for Dortmund. Brandt, edge of the area! Kepa with a low save, and Haller was very close to getting a touch on it that would have diverted it in beyond him.
Oh, we've had a shot on target, and it came from a bit of sloppy play. We've seen that a couple of times in the first half. Chelsea giving the ball away and Dortmund having chances. It was Kai Havertz this time. As you said, if Haller gets a touch, that's probably a goal. It's so close to Kepa, he wouldn't have been able to save any deflection on its way, but good save.
João Felix with the cross in now. Mudryk just lost his footing as he was attacking it about 12 yards out. It's broken to Chilwell. Fernandez with a shot from distance, and Kobel, well, it was near enough to him, but it was just dipping in front of him, so it wasn't the most straightforward of saves, but Kobel dealt with it with a minimum of fuss.
Yeah, easy save to make, but it's a chance at both ends now. Both goalkeepers have made a save. Hopefully that's a sign of things to come, shots on target, because the play we've seen other than that has been really good, real good tempo to this game.
Just under an hour played, and that yellow wall again finding its voice, probably due to that Julian Brandt effort that was saved by Kepa. And now Emre Can has danced through centre field and has found Adeyemi on the left. He's got Guerrero just cantering up to make the overlapping run. He's gone to Brandt instead, 25 yards out from goal. Square pass to Wolf now for Dortmund by the corner of the box, forced backwards though by Chelsea's organisation. They have to go square to Schlotterbeck, centre field. Chelsea have plenty of men back. Lofted ball towards Bellingham is cut out by Thiago Silva from inside his box, and Ziyech running back towards his own goal, then eventually slaps a long clearance upfield, but that's going to be easy for Sula.
Yeah, but if Chelsea can just find that first pass, Ziyech felt he needed to clear that one. When they win the ball back, if they can just find the first pass into midfield, get someone turned, the spaces are huge because both Dortmund's centre-backs are pushing into quite advanced positions, and it ends up being Özcan who's actually the deepest player during Dortmund's attacks, and he's in on the D of the centre circle inside Chelsea's half, so the spaces are huge. They're trying to win the ball back straight away, but as I said, Chelsea just need to find that first quality pass.
Sula has Mudryk on his shoulder, goes back to Kobel, who knocks it square for Schlotterbeck. Schlotterbeck, unopposed, can come up to just shy of halfway before Havertz does close him down. The pass is straight down the throat of Reece James, though, who finds Loftus-Cheek, and it's back now with Thiago Silva. Koulibaly in front of the D of his own area. Square pass for Chilwell. Chilwell gets away from Brandt, who tries to wrestle him down. Chilwell's done really well. Mudryk takes up the running now, left wing for Chelsea. Mudryk goes towards the byline, and Emre Can judged that well, had to, got his boot to it, and takes it off the toes of Mudryk.
Well, he found himself in a brilliant position, could have gone 1v1 with Can really early, but decided actually to slow down, and then it was as if he realised he was 1v1 with Can. By that time, Can got himself into a great position to be able to cover it, but what they've just done well there, Chelsea, they won the ball back really quickly. Ben Chilwell, he's had a good game tonight offensively and caught out a couple of times defensively. Wins the ball back there and helps to win his team a corner.
So, corner kick, which will be taken by Chilwell. down in front of that yellow wall. In fact, it's João Felix who's going to deliver it, arm up, and now in it goes from João Felix. Kobel opts to punch, and Mudryk underneath it, can't beat Adeyemi to it, and then guides it back to Enzo Fernandez. Now it's wide with Hakim Ziyech with the chip ball across towards João Felix, who took it down beautifully and then curls in a ball that's nowhere near Loftus-Cheek. Bit of a waste that. Bellingham tries to get the header away. It comes from Mudryk, who let it run, and Enzo Fernandez running onto it, smacked it on the half volley, a good 10 yards wide.
Well, for someone of his quality, he should be doing a bit better than that, but it's just one of them as it felt to Mudryk on the edge of the penalty area. He controlled it, and it fell into a space in between three Chelsea players. All of them thought for a moment they were going to be the player to take the shot, and eventually ends up being Enzo Fernandez who called the other players away, and in doing so just sliced his shot wide. But good pressure again from Chelsea.
Ball is back with the Dortmund keeper Kobel, who plays it inside his area to Zula. João Felix with a leisurely bit of closing down. The ball upfield is cut out by Thiago Silva. Now Enzo Fernandez quickly into João Felix, left hand side, gets into the area now, danger here. Mudryk gets to the byline, cuts it back, no penalty for handball. Chelsea half appealing. Mudryk gets it in once again, useful delivery. They're a bit under the pump here. Reece James comes and collects. James would have hit a goal. Great save, Kobel. Into the ground, Reece James hit it. It was looping over the keeper and drifting in, and Kobel stretched, got his hand to it and shoveled it over the bar.
Well, whenever Chelsea raise the tempo of the game and play with real pace, Borussia Dortmund's defence just really struggles to cope with it. It's Mudryk getting in behind on this left-hand side, finally digs out a pass. They think they've cleared it, Dortmund, but Reece James on the front foot, getting in front of his man, and eventually when he takes that shot, hits it into the ground. You nearly thought for a moment the spin of it would loop it over Kobel in goal, but equal to the make a good save.
Good chances in the second half, but still we await the opening goal. 62 minutes played, we get it now. Perhaps Havertz's header goes wide of goal. I thought he was going to have a go at goal. The flag's up now. Play's going to be stopped. No, it's not. Advantage played. Adeyemi's on the run here. Enzo Fernandez is the furthest Chelsea player back. Adeyemi's past him. Adeyemi round Kepa to score surely, and Borussia Dortmund have the lead. It's wonderful from Karim Adeyemi. A somersault to celebrate a special goal in the Champions League. Signal Iduna Park erupts. Chelsea trail after failing to take their chances. Adeyemi has brilliantly slotted away his, ran at Enzo Fernandez, beat him, rounded Kepa, rolled it in. Dortmund 1, Chelsea 0. Good advantage, and they took full advantage.
Well, Chelsea should be 1-0 up, not 1-0 down. That was a brilliant delivery from a corner kick. It falls on the head of Kai Havertz, probably 7 yards out, front post, and he just doesn't connect with it properly. And from there, Dortmund break brilliantly. I've spoken about both teams' ability on the counter-attack tonight, and this time it's Dortmund in the ascendancy. As you said, Adeyemi quickly gets forward, finds himself 1v1 with Enzo Fernandez, backing him away into his own half, towards the edge of his own penalty area. For a moment you thought Adeyemi had overrun it, and that Kepa had an opportunity to come out and smother the ball as Adeyemi got in behind Fernandez, but the pace got him away from Fernandez, and now actually rounded the goalkeeper brilliantly and passed it into the back of the goal. And Chelsea, from thinking they were going to be 1-0 up, found themselves 1-0 down.
So Adeyemi's goal, the breakthrough then at Signal Iduna Park, and Chelsea will be scratching their heads at how they find themselves behind, given the chances that they have created but failed to take, and caught out on the counter there with their centre halves up attacking the corner. It's come the way of Enzo Fernandez, who pokes it through. Mudryk was sniffing around and got in there and then sent the ball over the top of the bar when he should perhaps have done better. Dortmund have got to play it down now. Wolf is clutching his ankle and he will need to receive some treatment here. Looking back at that goal, defensively, Chelsea caught out there with their centre halves up the pitch, and Enzo Fernandez was just outpaced.
Yeah, that was it, plain and simple. Just didn't have the pace to stay with Adeyemi as he burst away, and because he was the last man, he also couldn't gamble and just make a challenge. He would have been sent off. So he tried to slow him down. He tried to get as much time for his team and just couldn't. But Chelsea need to just stay in this game for a moment. There's chances there. Both teams are continuing to create chances, Chelsea just need to make sure at 1-0 it's not the end of the world. An opportunity comes to level it up, brilliant. They don't want to go back to Stamford Bridge 2-0 down in this game. And the way chances have presented themselves at both ends, anybody could score the next goal.
Well, play halted while Wolf was being tended to. There was some activity on the Dortmund bench, and it looks as though we're going to see Anthony Modeste come on for Dortmund. Just waiting for confirmation of who he'll be replacing. Celebrations from Adeyemi were exceptional, and it was, to be fair to the referee, a good advantage that was played, because the flag was up. He thought about blowing the whistle, but saw the counter was on.
Yeah, he spotted it really early, and one or two of the Chelsea players signalled that they wanted the referee to stop the game, but the moment he didn't, Chelsea were in trouble, could not get back quick enough. Both teams have left themselves exposed on the counter-attack at times tonight. I thought maybe the managers would solve that at half-time. Chelsea haven't.
Well, the Dortmund fans are basically all on their feet now and bouncing. The atmosphere has certainly changed. It was a bit pensive at the start of the second half because Chelsea were really dictating play and were creating chances, but the mood has altered now as we go into the final quarter of the 90 minutes of this first leg, the return leg at Stamford Bridge in 3 weeks' time on Tuesday the 7th of March. It's a long wait between the two legs, isn't it? In this new format that they've had for a while now of splitting the games to spread them out over a longer period of time. Ziyech tries to win the ball on halfway for Chelsea. It breaks the way of Emre Can, and now it's lofted over the top for Adeyemi to chase. There's no flag against him for now. Chelsea were appealing for it, and I wonder if that's at the back of their minds now, that Adeyemi on the counter is quite a weapon for them to contend with.
Yeah, but they've been bright on the counter-attack all night. As you said, Adeyemi, Haller's not necessarily going to cause you too many problems with his pace, but Brandt and Bellingham as well, in particular, have been bursting forward every opportunity they've got. It's been a good game. Chelsea will know they can still create chances. 23 minutes left in this game. They'll get at least one chance, maybe even two or three, the way the game has swung. So they just need to do something that they haven't done so far this evening, and that's take one of these big opportunities that have come their way.
Anthony Modeste then on for Sebastian Haller, so like-for-like switch in terms of that alteration from Edin Terzic. And Modeste immediately chasing a ball down that left channel, has got to the byline and has actually put it into a useful area, but nobody in yellow was in there, so Kepa safely gathers and quickly gets it out to Chilwell. Midway through the second half, Dortmund 1, Chelsea 0, and we have a very intriguing climax to this first leg ahead of us. Chelsea with their chances in that first half, João Felix in particular crashing against the crossbar, and they've been made to pay for that, but I'm sure that we will hear more about the potential sending off for Jude Bellingham that he seemed to get away with. That could well have been a turning point if Bellingham had picked up a second yellow. Not a great deal of time before that opening goal for Dortmund. Mudryk loses his footing about 5 yards outside the Dortmund area, and all of a sudden they come surging forwards, and Brandt on the right hand side is running at Koulibaly, held up briefly and then across towards Adeyemi, and there was too much swaz on that pass for Adeyemi to be able to control, and out it goes for a throw by the corner flag.
Yeah, Chelsea just looked a bit tired in this second half. They looked like the pace of the game for one or two of them has just gotten away from them. Ben Chilwell, when he's getting forward, he's not getting back as quick as at the moment. In midfield, they're not getting back as quick. Those runs that Mudryk was making for an hour of this game, he's just started to take a bit longer in his play, and that'll play into the hands of Dortmund. So don't be surprised if Chelsea look to the substitutes bench just to try and freshen it up, keep those energy levels high.
Well, about to bring on Marc Cucurella, who was not showered with praise for his link-up or lack of link-up play with Mudryk in the draw with West Ham at the weekend. Mason Mount is also out there. Graham Potter was looking to make the change there, but Chelsea then took the goal kick, which was theirs, too quickly, and we're back underway, so they can't make these alterations. So it's Enzo Fernandez who comes up to just before the centre circle. Bellingham closes him down, and Chelsea will build again with James. James in towards Hakim Ziyech, who goes back to Enzo Fernandez. Fernandez square for Koulibaly. All of this in the Chelsea half still. Now Koulibaly, that's useful for Mudryk to chase off. He would have been in there if he'd been able to control it. Mudryk timed his run, used his pace. Koulibaly caught everyone out with the lofted ball, but Mudryk's control let him down.
That was a great run. I mean, when Dortmund play a high line like that, Mudryk is spotting the opportunities and making some really good runs. It was a great pass from Koulibaly, just lifted it over the defence, but he's got to take it with him. He's got to be able to control that on the move. If he does, he would have been in 1v1 with the goalkeeper, completely missed the ball, and it was the control of a tired player.
So Cucurella for Chilwell and Mount for Mudryk are the changes. Leon Osman.
Yeah, well, we spoke for certainly in the first half and the second half, saying that Chelsea were most effective down this left-hand side with their energy, getting in behind, but it's as if those two players have burnt themselves out. An hour went past on the clock, and their energy levels just seem to drop a little bit, so no surprise to see that those being the changes that Graham Potter's looked to make, but he'll hope that the players he's introduced can play at that tempo that allows Chelsea to continue to dominate their left side.
In comes this corner from João Felix, and cleared his way as far as the edge of the area. Ziyech has gone through the back of his man, and Chelsea just perhaps losing their rag a bit here, and Hakim Ziyech has picked up a yellow card for berating the referee, which is a cheap one to give away.
I'd like to see it again, but I think he's got a point, Ziyech. It was a challenge. They went into the air on the edge of the penalty area. Ziyech headed it, and in trying to head it away, Adeyemi just sort of headed Ziyech. It wasn't Ziyech's problem, he didn't do anything wrong, but referee gave a free kick against him. So yeah, I can understand his frustration. You can't allow yourself to then receive a yellow card for it in those situations, but that's what he's done.
Well, Marius Wolf, who was perhaps a bit of a surprise inclusion this evening, is going to go off, and the man that they thought was going to start in the fullback position, Julian Riersen, is his replacement. Riersen, who's making his Champions League debut, having recently joined the club. He slots in on the right side of that back line for Dortmund. So that's their second change of the game. Both sides making two substitutions so far, with 18 minutes left to play and Dortmund leading by a goal to nil. Cucurella hasn't been able to keep the ball in on this near side, so it's going to be a Dortmund throw from just inside their own territory, and it just has knocked a bit of the stuffing out of Chelsea in the concession of that goal. As you'd expect, they were playing with a real swagger at the start of the second half, but that's evaporated a bit.
Well, it has. Goals change games, there's no doubt about that. It certainly lifted the home team, maybe just took a touch of stuffing out of Chelsea, but where they were most effective was on the counter-attacking. Mudryk was playing a huge part in that, and the moment he tired, the moment his runs became few and far between, Chelsea as a team have just stepped off the pace a little bit, haven't looked as threatening. But Mount is on, he'll play from this left-hand side like Mudryk did. He'll have to give us different kind of performance. He won't be using any blistering pace to get away from defenders. He'll be clever, he'll be trying to find himself in the pockets and try and create something from those avenues.
Enzo Fernandez, centre field for Chelsea, square pass to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. They've rolled it from left to right. Reece James looking for the quick give and go, but Havertz just delayed, so they'll have to start once again in centre field with Loftus-Cheek into the feet of Reece James. Enzo Fernandez, he's got a couple of Dortmund players buzzing around him, so can't play a forward pass, and Chelsea have to start again with Koulibaly on halfway.
Yeah, well, Chelsea need to have patience now. Patience in the possession, patience in the build-up. They need to make sure they can't be counter-attacked on.
Cucurella with a very promising ball towards João Felix inside the area, and it might break on the edge of the area for Loftus-Cheek, who almost played in Ziyech on that far side, but Guerrero was wise to it and slid in to clear the danger. 15 minutes left to play of this first leg at Signal Iduna Park, and it's Adeyemi's goal that separates the sides. But Chelsea now with a spell of possession, and they've got Ziyech bursting towards the byline on the right flank, tried to cut it back towards Loftus-Cheek, not enough oomph on the pass though, and it will be cleared away.
Yeah, again, just have to keep their patience now. They're winning the ball back quite quick after they give it away. Dortmund have dropped deep. They need to have patience in the build-up, but in fact, they've been counter-attacked on so easily in this game so far. They need to make sure they're well aware that Dortmund could spring on them in any moment.
Our offside flag going up will just give Dortmund the chance to take the sting out of it, take their time and toss the ball between their defenders and goalkeeper, and they'll both sort of dummy each other to say one's going to take it and the other one actually does, and eventually we are back underway with 14 and a bit minutes of the 90 to play, and Borussia Dortmund leading by a goal to nil in this first ever meeting between these two clubs. Graham Potter had been doing well in the Champions League, 4 wins and 1 draw since he took over at Chelsea, so set to be his first defeat in the competition. Mason Mount shields the ball away from Ryerson, the newly arrived right back. And Chelsea again have to concede territory and start once more with Loftus-Cheek, who finds the feet of Reece James. James on the right flank looks for Ziyech. Ziyech beats his man really well and then makes up a few more yards, and then Adeyemi's tugged him back. That's a nailed on yellow card for the goal scorer Karim Adeyemi.
Yeah, very good from Hakim Ziyech. We haven't seen him figure really heavily in this game. Most of Chelsea's best players been down the left-hand side, but since he's been replaced, Mudryk, by Mason Mount, Chelsea have actually started to use the right side of the pitch a bit more, because he's holding his width out there, so dropping his shoulder, getting to the byline like he did just then is exactly what Chelsea need.
So it's going to be a free kick for Chelsea on the right-hand side with 14 minutes left to play of the 90. Ziyech has his hands on his hips and is ready to whip it in as the whistles grow from the Dortmund fans. And here is this free kick. Ziyech steps up, gets ready to take it. Good looking free kick. Kobel fists it away, and now Reece James square header to Mason Mount. Mount goes back to Cucurella inside the centre circle. Dortmund trying to close down the space as quickly as possible. Ziyech gets away from his man really well. Ziyech chinking and weaving, gets towards the byline. Loftus-Cheek cuts it back. Chance for Koulibaly! Kobel saves! Is it off the line? Referee says it is.
Well, I think it was. It's Emre Can who's back there. Brilliant play.
Really good chance for Chelsea to get themselves back on terms. Koulibaly with a hit at goal, which Kobel, the keeper, got something on, and then in the nick of time it was Emre Can who cleared off the line. Leon Osman, wonderful defending.
Well, it was. It's instinctive. Get him back to make sure you're in a position. I mean, Chelsea should score. They've created chance after chance, really big chances as well. Koulibaly finding himself on the penalty spot unopposed, players dropping away, and he hits it straight at the goalkeeper, who makes half a save, just about enough, but it was bobbling past him, going over the line. If Emre Can hadn't got back onto the line to make that clearance, but just need to keep going, Chelsea, believe in themselves. How many options they've got from the substitutes bench at the top end of the field to put one of these chances away. Somebody out there is going to have to do it.
Karim Adeyemi, the man whose goal separates the sides, is coming off now, and it's going to be the young Englishman Dino Gittins, who scored from the bench in Dortmund's victory against Werder Bremen at the weekend, who comes on. Had a brief time at Chelsea, a bit longer with the Manchester City academy before, like so many youngsters, deciding to make the move to Germany. Here's Ziyech meanwhile coming forwards for Chelsea, and a low drive straight into the path of Gregor Kobel. Chelsea have had their chances and will be kicking themselves if they come away from here with a defeat.
They will, but it's been a theme for Chelsea in recent weeks as well. They create chances, the opportunities to score goals. They didn't score against Liverpool, they didn't score against Fulham, dominated the opening half an hour against West Ham and only got the 1 goal. And here they've had so many really good chances.
Here goes Modeste trying to get a second for Dortmund, and his cutback goes over the top of the crossbar, and he puts his hands on his head because he knows that that was a useful position. He had players arriving in support, unable to pick any of them out. Cucurella in the left-back area for Chelsea, and that yellow wall again finds its voice. The flags are being waved from side to side. They're bouncing once again. It's been a bit of a rocky game for them. Chelsea really came flying out of the traps at the start of the second half, but Adeyemi's goal separates the sides with 10 minutes of the 90 left to play. Centre field for Chelsea, Mount rolls over and gets the free kick, and all of the Dortmund players to a man berate the referee and say, how can you give a free kick for that?
Yeah, it was a cheap one, but I think it was just about a free kick. Mason Mount, as we expected, stepping off this left-hand side, going into a more natural number 10 position, sucking out the defender. There was Sule on that occasion, just stepping out, trying to get to Mason Mount early. He rolled him really well, just about enough for a foul. And again, another set piece in a pretty dangerous position.
So it's Enzo Fernandez who's over this free kick for Chelsea, and they've gone for the short one. Back to Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva square to Fernandez. Dortmund with everyone back behind the ball, so it's pinged crossfield and chested down by Reece James. Useful looking ball in from him, but again well defended. Sule was back there helping out. Modeste for Dortmund. This is deep inside their own half, and now they get up to Bino Gittens. He nearly got away from Cucurella. Cucurella's got to get back now. He's been caught out of position. Rierson across to Modeste, who's in the area. He took too long with the control though, which allowed Reece James to get back and take it off his toes, but it's getting stretched once again, Leon.
Well, they just about defend that one. I mean, that was a big opportunity for Dortmund, but they've got a decision to make.
Havertz has rolled his man and has got the wrong side of Sule. He's into the area. Was that a foul on him? Referee says the ball was won. Chelsea's bench is apoplectic. They are bouncing up and down. Graham Potter right on top of the assistant referee on this near side. They are fuming. They feel that that was a foul and a penalty.
Well, I'll have to see it back, but my first instinct is that it very well could have been. I mean, the referee's made a big call. I do feel that he made contact with the ball, but I also feel, just from my first instinct of looking at it, he had to go through Kai Havertz to do so. In doing so, bringing him and down and getting the ball as well. Quite often when you see those situations in modern football, the foul's given for going through him. Just about to see it again. I think he just about gets round Havertz enough. I think the referee's got that one correct.
Bellingham lofts it forwards towards Julian Brandt, can't find him. It's collected by Kepa. Don't forget, we will have reaction from the big Premier League game before 10:30 on 5 Live for you. Manchester City top of the table after their 3-1 success at Arsenal. De Bruyne, Grealish and Haaland with the goals for Pep Guardiola's side. Saka's penalty was Arsenal's one goal on the night. Here's Bino Gittens, who's given the ball away in centre field, and Loftus-Cheek's able to eat up the turf, and he's played it wide to Ziyech. Ziyech canters up towards the edge of the area, jinks and weaves, and now digs the ball out. He's looking for Mount in the area. Schlotterbeck got ahead to it. They think there's an offside. Referee's not given anything, so Cucurella recycles. Poor pass though, doesn't find Fernandez, but then Modeste has given it away. All a bit scrappy. Loftus-Cheek 40 yards out from goal, finds Havertz. Now it's Reece James, edge of the area. He's got a plenty of yellow shirts in front of him. Enter Fernandez. João Felix straight at the keeper. Took it quickly, just inside the box. Low dribbler, which was straight at Gregor Kobel.
Again, really good play from Chelsea, moving the ball quickly, getting men into really advanced positions, and a quick-footed snapshot, one touch with his left foot, swiveling it with his right from João Felix, but straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. Another one you'd expect him to make, and Chelsea have got a decision to make here, because they are getting men forward quite well. They are continuing to make chances, but they're also leaving themselves exposed for Dortmund to be able to score a second goal. So it's, do you settle for 1-0? Do you go in search of this equalising goal? There is still a second leg to play in this game, and Chelsea should fancy themselves at home, but it'll be much more difficult if they leave themselves exposed to a second goal.
It's got the vibe of next goal wins with the way that both teams are playing at the moment, but as Leon says, there is a second leg to factor in, and on the edge of the area, over went Mount, nothing doing. Ziyech is hit straight into Guerrero. Chelsea have it back with Reece James. Helter-skelter stuff down in that Dortmund area, and now it's Borussia Dortmund coming away with Emre Can up towards halfway. Ziyech tracks back and just calms things down a bit, and Dortmund have possession in their left-back area with Guerrero. And I think that the message, if you're a Dortmund player, is keep the ball, calm it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they don't want to keep leaving Chelsea opportunities to score. They've given the ball away again.
João Felix, 25 yards out, has the thought about having a go at goal. He's tackled from behind by Salih Özcan, who is going to become the latest player booked by the referee. That is now 4 Dortmund players who have had yellow cards, 3 for Chelsea, and it's just a shove in the back on João Felix, which gives Chelsea this free kick 25 yards out, slightly right of centre.
I can't believe there's only been one goal in this game. I certainly can't believe Chelsea haven't scored yet. There's been so many really good chances in this game, but Chelsea, they've just been a little bit rushed in their finish. They've just lost their concentration at a crucial moment when they needed a touch of composure. Yes, Borussia Dortmund have made some really good blocks, some good saves, clearances off the line. Chelsea just need to trust themselves, their ability. They're such quality players. Just stroke the ball into the corner rather than just feeling that little bit rushed in the finish.
5 minutes of the 90 left to play. Chelsea free kick, 25 yards out, as I say, slightly right of centre. And Thiago Silva is trying to get a message out to some of his teammates about where to try and infiltrate that Dortmund wall. It's Mount and Ziyech who have both stood over this. Ziyech just licks his lips. Mount then feints to have a go at it. It's Ziyech, it's over the wall, and it's well wide. Big cheers from the 25,000 or so Dortmund fans in that yellow wall as it drifted harmlessly wide of the post.
Yeah, really tame effort, really. Got it over the wall comfortably enough, but never troubling the goalkeeper. 4 or 5 yards wide, just as we see the replay of the Koulibaly effort. It is inches from going over the line. It's on the line as Emre Can gets back to clear it off. Just seeing the reaction of Graham Potter as well. It looks to the heavens. He can't believe his team haven't scored here yet this evening. They've played really well at times.
Emre Can, who made a vital clearance there and has generally been the go-to man for Borussia Dortmund recently. Jude Bellingham gets a lot of the headlines, understandably, but it is the former Liverpool man as well as Julian Brandt that has really been helping Dortmund tick. It's set to be 7 straight wins for them since play got back underway in Germany after the World Cup and then the winter break in the country. But Chelsea on the move again here. 3 minutes of the 90 left to play. We will have reaction from the Emirates, where Manchester City have beaten Arsenal by 3-1 to overtake the Gunners and go top of the Premier League table. We'll hear from Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola before 10:30 on 5 Live. Cucurella left wing for Chelsea, closed down by Bino Gittins, and Koulibaly gives it back to Marc Cucurella. And Dortmund with every man back behind the ball, just trying to squeeze the space. Loftus-Cheek collects in the centre circle. 2 and a bit minutes of the 90 remaining. Thiago Silva has it. Bit pedestrian now from Chelsea though.
Yeah, just trying to create that opportunity, trying to move this Dortmund defence around. Thiago Silva just, I think, trying to make sure the team retain possession of the ball. Again, look at the positions they're taking up. And we've got Koulibaly back in his own. 2 Dortmund players closer to him than anything. Chelsea really trying to stretch the pitch, create this chance.
João Felix with the lofted ball in towards the penalty spot area. Doesn't quite come the way of Mason Mount. It might break for Reece James, who's in the area now. Dortmund with plenty back. James lofts it in. Cucurella threw himself at it, and Cucurella has fouled his man. And Dortmund will take as much time as possible over this free kick with 2 minutes of the 90 left to play.
I'm sure they will. Just see the replay, because I didn't see a foul on first instinct. Maybe he's jumped into the back of Rierson, but I mean, Chelsea continuing to go in search of this equalising goal, yes, but this is the first leg of a 2-legged affair. They've got the second leg at Stamford Bridge in 3 weeks' time. You wouldn't think so, the way that they're going after this goal in the 88th minute of the game. They're leaving themselves so open at the back. It's as if they have to get the goal this evening.
The 4,000 or so Chelsea supporters away to our right-hand side in the bottom section of the North Stand and look on. They haven't had too much to shout about since the early stages of this second half, when they really were knocking at the door, but Adeyemi's goal on the counter-attack has silenced them, and Chelsea haven't, apart from that opportunity for Koulibaly, done too much to trouble Gregor Kobel in the Dortmund goal. Cucurella falls back in the left-back area into Mount. That's a crunching challenge on him by Rierson, and that's a silly yellow card from him, because Rierson, who's just come on, picks up a booking that is going to rule him out of the return leg. And now there's a massive scrap down on the touchline, and all of the players are getting involved. Nicolas Zula's gone across. Some of the substitutes are trying to break things up. It's been bubbling for a bit now, and they're still having to be separated down there. Members of the coaching staff are there. The referee's got his yellow card in his hand, just trying to decipher who the aggressors were in this situation, and it's still ongoing. Leon Osman.
Well, it looked like Cucurella was the one that started it, but in fact Cucurella was just running past everybody to get the ball that was right in front of the fourth official, but in doing so it looked like he was charging after Rierson, so everybody else reacted and got involved. Sule came rushing over, Mason Mount, and Cucurella ran around them all, got the ball and threw it back as if to get going, but by that time the melee had started and the referee was ready to take out his yellow card.
Well, Sula has been booked, but also Mason Mount, and that rules Mason Mount out of the second leg now as well, which is a blow for Chelsea.
Yeah, it will be, and he was the person that actually got fouled, and he jumped up actually as if he really wasn't happy and wanted to get involved, and he regrets it now. He's got his hands on his head. He realises what that yellow card means.
Well, back underway, and we're into additional time now, and in all of that I don't think I saw the board go up to tell us how much of it there's going to be. 5 minutes is the answer, 5 additional minutes, which we are 30 seconds into, and Chelsea have forced themselves a corner and an opportunity perhaps to take a draw back to London for the return leg in 3 weeks' time. Big game in London taking place already this evening. Arsenal beaten 3-1 at home by Manchester City. City top of the table as a result. Reaction from both camps to come. Corner comes in, Kobel, easy claim, and then he does what all goalkeepers do when you're trying to run down the clock, collapses dramatically and lies on his front. Now he suddenly springs up and bangs it upfield for Bellingham to chase, and Reece James had to be careful and gets it back to Kepa.
Yeah, it's the first time Chelsea haven't had somebody on the goalkeeper in front of him, making it difficult. They claimed that one really easily.
Ball's worked its way across to João Felix, left wing, but now the flag is up, and Edin Terzic goes across to tell his players to take as much time as possible. Big games in the Premier League, the Champions League and the Championship as well. Sheffield United against Middlesbrough, and that's Prem G.
It's finished. Sheffield United 1, Middlesbrough 3. Michael Carrick's side cut the gap to 7 in the chase down for second. McBurney scored the opener for United, but goals from Akpom and a brace from Cameron Archer secure the point for Michael Carrick and co. Sheffield United 1, Middlesbrough 3.
Thanks very much, Naz, and we will be hearing from Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta after Manchester City's 3-1 victory at the Emirates earlier on in the Premier League. Here at Signal Iduna Park, which is absolutely rocking, especially in that iconic South Stand with 25,000 Dortmund fans bouncing up and down, all in yellow and black, and they've got more calls for cheer here because they've got themselves a free kick just inside the Chelsea half. And what's the polite way of saying it? Game management at the moment, Leon?
Yeah, happy to take as much time as possible, realising Chelsea are trying to go in search of this equalising goal. They're in no rush. Borussia Dortmund, they're happy to take a 1-0 victory to Stamford Bridge. I think they'll think they've earned it. I think they'll think they deserve it, but Chelsea still bewildered how Chelsea haven't scored in this game. They've had some real opportunities, played some really good football at times, but you don't put your chances away, you lose games.
Reece James goes over as he goes down the right wing and was convinced the free kick was coming. Referee had other ideas. Dortmund come forwards with Guerrero. Now it's Schlotterbeck who sends it wide for Julian Brandt, and Brandt just ran out of road in the end, so Chelsea have got it back in their right back area. It's now with Thiago Silva in the Chelsea box. Couple of steps forwards from him, looks for an option, no obvious one. He's gesticulating to players to give him an option and nobody's doing it, so João Felix eventually comes short and plays it back to Thiago Silva. Now Enzo Fernandez has worked it wide for Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech on the move as Havertz to his right hand side, infield to Reece James instead. Immediately 2 Dortmund players buzzing around him. Loftus-Cheek has found a bit of room though. João Felix, D of the area, wide to Cucurella, crossing position from the left, and wasn't able to clear the first man, but the clearance is poor. João Felix has collected just outside the box, stabs it to Cucurella, deep ball in from him, too deep for anyone in blue, but then Julian Brandt almost made a horrendous error. It's come back to his keeper anyway, and he has slapped the clearance up towards halfway.
Yeah, a bit of panic defensively there for Dortmund. They are hanging on in this game. They put a lot of work in, they put a lot of effort, they look tired. Chelsea looking strong at the moment.
Last minute of stoppage time. João Felix has taken a tumble just outside the area. Advantage is played. Cucurella back to the edge. Fernandez tries to get a shot in. Kobel on the stretch. Splendid save to keep Dortmund in front. Curling towards that top corner. Kobel got across, clawed it away. Chelsea corner.
Yeah, great effort. He thought he'd scored. He hit it so well. I think he actually hits it off his other foot, which probably makes it even more difficult for the goalkeeper.
They've taken the corner quickly. Reece James whips it in. Modeste is back there helping out into the final 30 seconds. Kepa's come all the way up to halfway to get onto the loose ball. All in orange, plays it flat across to Reece James. Whistles from the home fans. They want the full-time whistle. Good raking crossfield ball from James. Out comes Kobel, makes the gather, collapses, and the roar will tell you that he's laying down on the deck and taking as long as possible.
Yeah, and I think Dortmund have settled for this. I mean, I think they settled for it about 10 or 15 minutes ago.
Well, there goes the full-time whistle. Dortmund have won this game by 1-0, and Chelsea will be wondering just how they've come away with defeat.
Well, I'm wondering it myself. I think Chelsea played really well at times. I think they game management was okay. I think they created really good opportunities, but the thing that's troubled them in the last 4 or 5 games is something that haunted them again this evening. Only 1 goal in the last 4 games scored. Drew a blank at Fulham, home to Fulham, drew a blank away to Liverpool, drew a blank again here this evening. But it's not because they don't create opportunities. They made them in their many this evening. They just lacked composure. They lacked quality at times in their finish. They were rushed at times, which, you look at the quality player out there on the field, you would never imagine that to be the case. But it's a real issue for them at the moment. I think the moment they solve that problem, they could have a really good season.
Well, plenty of chances at a rocking Signal Iduna Park, but just the 1 goal. Karim Adeyemi in the second half on the counter. Full time in the first leg of this Champions League tie then. Borussia Dortmund 1, Chelsea 0.
Ben Brereton Diaz has got a late equaliser for Blackburn at the Hawthorns. West Brom 1, Blackburn 1. They are still playing there. Leon Osman, the post-match analysis of Chelsea is virtually the same at the end of every single game at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched them quite a bit, and they dominate games. They move the ball, they create chances, whether that was in possession tonight or on the counter-attack, where they were very, very effective. But for whatever reason, the quality player out there can't seem to put the ball into the back of the goal. And I mean, I'm thinking, what could Graham Potter do differently? Does he need to give them finishing practice? We're talking about João Felix, and we're talking about Kai Havertz in front of goal, players that have composure normally and yet miss some really big opportunities tonight. So it's difficult. They are a work in progress, we know that, but yeah, it's just not working in front of goal. I think the concern as well in this game was how they went chasing it. I mean, this is the first leg of a 2-legged affair, very much in the tie, yet to try to get that goal back, they left themselves open defensively. Dortmund may have got the second goal, but I think both teams actually, when they look back on this game, won't be too disappointed that there's only a goal in it.
So in some ways, the fact that they kept it to 1-0 when they were chasing it is a positive.
I think so. I mean, they could have...
Well, that's what I'm kind of interpreting from you.
Yeah, well, I mean, Chelsea should have got back in this game. They should have equalised. They should actually have scored more goals than Dortmund here. But they left themselves so exposed in the first leg of a 2-legged affair. I was so surprised that Dortmund could have actually nicked the second one in that game, and that would have made it even more difficult for Chelsea at home at Stamford Bridge. At 1-0, Chelsea should certainly fancy themselves, especially if they play like that. The crowd at Stamford Bridge should and will suck the ball into the back of the goal if things aren't going as well, because that was despite the lack of goals, that was a really good performance, I thought, from Chelsea.
It was some goal, Mark, that won it.
Absolutely brilliant from Karim Adeyemi. Chelsea had a corner and Havertz actually had a good chance to score from it. Referee deserves a bit of credit too as well, Mark, because the offside flag was then raised, but instead of blowing the whistle, he saw that Dortmund were quickly on the counter, and Adeyemi just absolutely outpaced Fernandes and then coolly rounded Kepa, slotted the ball in, somersault in the air. Brilliant goal, great celebration, and Signal Iduna Park was rocking. But as Leon was saying, Chelsea could have been out of sight before that. João Felix with a sitter over the top and then hit the crossbar in the first half as well. Graham Potter had to field questions yesterday about not getting angry enough. I imagine he might be pretty angry tonight given the scoreline, if not the performance.